Start streaming. Connect streaming software to go live. Hey, we're live, right. So, I thought this was an interesting thing last night. So let's just press play on that bit. Yeah. And then let's put that there. Right. And that should be big enough so it's visible to everybody. And let's make this window slightly larger so I can see what I was doing. Okay, there we go. And it's just going to be Marco on his own for a bit. Marco. Hello, Blighter. So this was an interesting thing hosted on Marco Coletti's Spaghetti website last night. And, oh, you've tried to skip ahead to 3 minutes? Oh, I know. I need to reset some internet things. So let's see if the stream will work as I turn it off and on again. I hope you enjoy the circly, wibbly, wobbly thing. I sure do. This will be entertaining once I get my game up. But so let's do that in the meantime. Yep, there it is. And come on. Does this actually work? Yeah, I thought it was an interesting discussion. There was a few points I wanted to make on it. Except the damn full thing won't load, so right.
Lolbertarians that are like, oh, debate me, bro. Debate me, bro.
Oh, here we go.
You know, why don't you debate yourself, mate?
Well, it's all the same
fucking... Top you fucking faggot, and I you're here.
Right, there we go. We got
a fucking shooter. What a legend.
Come out, Choppy She-Mate. Come out where you are.
Come out wherever you are, Choppy She-Mate.
Right, and do this.
Stop crying about DOA. Come on, get in chat.
Oh, he's such a fucking gimp. So, yeah, George seems up for it. At least he has the balls to come on to my. It won't be like a.
See if
an absolute
can
shit
I make
fest,
this
but
bit
it would.
Bigger?
It just be people.
I don't know. It might be. Phil's quite capable of an absolute shit fest, isn't he?
No, that's
yeah, well, especially if he keeps on stumbling.
I've actually got one of Phil's voice messages.
Shit, that's because he's motherfucking black man. Shit, what the fuck you talking about, bitch?
There we go. It's working. So I'm going to turn down the desktop audio because the point about this is it's commentary.
Oh, fucking Telegram's brilliant. Telegram's brilliant. Don't believe the hype. It's fucking brilliant.
I still can't get over the voice clips of me going to Geralt.
Oops, no, I don't want to do a new game. Go back. I want to continue my existing game.
Oh dear.
Yeah, well, let's talk about this Rev guy. This fucking
Sargon.
Sargon.
Yeah.
Wait, maybe I need to skip ahead a bit.
Message you did about nationalists and racists.
Yeah, this skip ahead a bit more. So where do we get the coon in? Oh, hello, Top Cat. Nice to see you again.
You come out with hopefully as white.
Really funny channel if you get into
the law.
Well, and
here we go.
You get into the favours, etc.
So main thing is, I thought IC3 actually identified the problem a bit better than Phil, Hemi, and everybody else did, and that's why I thought, hey, this is actually worthy of some commentary here. Because it's horribly boring, but long and short of it, modern monetary theory, where you just print money out of thin air, you just add some zeros into a database and go, there's some money, that works. All of our currency is faith-based. Hobbit, give Mr. Prepper a try sometime. Oh, yeah, I'll have a go at that game. Modern monetary theory works. We've got faith-based currency, and because of that, it makes a mockery of labour value of economics. But what this really means is those that have got the power aren't those that are busy chasing the wealth, the capitalists, which Phil seems to have a hard-on for. Although they are useful idiots perpetrating the system, the real ones that have the power are the ones that are able to issue and withdraw credit. because without the credit, nothing happens. So let's carry on playing this.
You know, what will you do? What will you do for this Diana Ball? Or
So glad that Top
whatever?
Cat feels comfortable enough to go on the stream again.
Special with Ben Affleck, didn't they, about steroid use and everything? And he was sort of robbing money off of his mum. He was doing really shady stuff to get this money for these steroids because it's not cheap.
I want to launch rockets. I don't need solar cells there, so I can send them off.
I don't know how anyone trusts the steroid shit. It's just, it's some
yes, Top Cat
is giving me all these science bottles.
Yeah, if you're buying steroids from your local crack dealer,
Well, you know which ones can be trusted and which ones can't. Like,
oh really?
Pfizer make Trembolone, and a lot of the pen bottles that I've seen have got.
I
like
don't
a little
trust
Pfizer
anything with Pfizer's name on it.
So they are.
I mean, if I saw some
pharmaceutical
Pfizer branded
company.
aspirin, I'd be like, you know what, this headache's not so bad. I think I'll pass.
They buy it. Where
yeah,
it's
but there have to
legal.
be fake pills because China are making loads and loads of fake pills at the moment, aren't they?
There are fake ones, but it's, you know, your seasoned steroid user knows what he's putting in his body as opposed to
Wait a
newbie
second.
who's just been bullied by.
Wait a second. This is the wrong bloody one.
They're faking everything, aren't they? The Chinese. They make plastic rice or some shit like that. That's fuck.
Yeah, there's like how-to
right.
videos, isn't there? It's like how to work out if you got plastic rice in your rice.
Yeah.
You just start cooking the raw rice and the plastic granules will melt.
What do you mean by it? What is the solution, IC3?
Yeah, I get that, Nordic. I think there's even the same problem with contaminated hormones, which I've seen.
You were mentioning a lot of things that are going wrong.
Well, give me a second.
And would we all agree that there's a problem? And what would we agree on what the problem is? And then we could probably agree on what the solution is.
This is going where it gets interesting. So interact. Pause. Right, going to do some commentary. Hang on. I need to do this in proper Phil style. 1 moment, please. Because I think Phil set a good example for the rest of us to follow when doing one of these things, right? So, whenever you're giving your commentary, just make sure you've got a vacuum cleaner in the background. So that really helps with like bringing your point over. So now one of the problems that IC3 identified was I've got to stop that, fuck's sake. One of the problems IC3 identified was that we got some problems, but then there seemed to be a bit of debate of what specifically the problem was. So let's just carry on and listen to what they said.
Identify the problem.
Right. Okay. So, I think, as I said last time I came on here, that the problem are these globalists that are trying to destroy national identity. And then the question is asked, well, who are these globalists and how they organize and what they are? So would you
that's not a bad idea. You got to identify who your opponents are.
Who these globalists are? Would you agree that they are trying to destroy national identity, and to do that they have to destroy family values, community values, and so on? Would you agree that that's my picture of the world and the problem?
Yeah.
Would you agree with that, or anybody got any other different views?
I think global capitalism aims to sort of destroy any national identity. It's not just us in the West, it's anyone. It's North Korea. You see it on the news. They'll go after North Korea and try and batter them up.
Right.
Yeah.
And
They go after
oh, hang on.
everyone.
You
don't need.
you can't blame our friends who don't.
You
do
don't
anything
need
on
Zion.
on
We
a
have
Friday night or
Christendom.
Saturday
Oh,
morning
that's it.
for
Yeah, I was
everything, can
arguing with IC3 in the chat whilst
Well, they're
agreeing with
just-
him
they're-
in the chat.
This is what I think. I think that they're our friends in the small hats. I believe that they use global capitalism for their own means.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. Right. Well, I mean, that's a good point there. Oh, sorry. So let's.
I think this is the bit where I said that
if everybody else
capitalism,
agrees with that,
socialism,
well, I
much
think
like
you're
a
agreeing with me.
carburetor
Who
in the
else?
fuel delivery system.
Chip in.
And what is it with this? Why am I getting
well,
contamination?
I'd
This?
I'd say certainly the national identity.
How do you
of
keep
Western
ending up in
countries
my
is,
sys supply?
being attacked, although I suppose you could argue that it started
Where are they
in,
coming from?
Africa.
How
I
do
mean,
they get
China's,
there? They're not
very
supposed to be in
actively,
here, you see, these things.
involved in Africa now. But I'd really say that I do agree with what you're saying, but it's really only happening in the Western nations. I mean, it's
Mind you, we're not really
the
subject
The
to...
Japanese birth rates are in the toilet as well, Toppy.
But it's still
Interact, pause. Right, yes, Japanese birth rates are in the toilet, and as I'll say later, they've still got monogamous society. They are working to change that and bring in immigration because, we can't have functional ethnic societies anymore. However, the plummeting birth rates in Japan are not all doom and gloom, as the growth enthusiasts are pointing out. The declining birth rates in Japan means that the working population is decreasing, so there is more competition by employers to offer better wages to attract the employees. And because of this, you got employees that it's a real seller's market if you're selling your labour. But the other thing is, because there's less people moving into, I know about hikikomori, the shut-ins, because they got fewer people in the workforce, that means there's fewer home buyers. So not only the wages increasing, but property prices are decreasing. And considering that Japan is around about the size of the British Isles, but they've got twice as much population as we have, they could stand to lose a few million people, and I think they'd all have a bit more breathing room.
I don't think their national identity is under attack. I mean,
it is.
They still have everything that goes.
Well, that's what I mean. There's some other problem that's going on, isn't there? Because the Japanese problem bucks every trend that we think there is.
No graviton lenses coming in.
Because they are monoethnic, they're highly you can't be Japanese if you've just no matter how long you live there, you still can't be Japanese.
Well,
Japanese have a healthy racial system, like an immune system, but for keeping out foreigners.
That's something that is not had a great effect on the Japanese. Japan is a different story, but I'd agree with IC3 in terms of there are globalists who are trying to eradicate the nation, but I think that they're mainly doing it in the Western world, i.e. by saying everybody can be English or everybody can be Scottish, and no borders, no nations, and chance.
Right. Only seems to be that one there.
I agree to a certain degree, but I think Top Cat, if you remember, you put me on to hikikomori, that phenomena that's going on in Japan.
It's still coming.
Yes.
I think they're doing it differently.
Where are they coming from?
In different countries, in different places, they know they have to do this differently. Like, they're not going to get the Japanese on their racial identity. Good luck with that one. But what they will get them on is technology and stuff like that. They can.
Well, that might be a good point, because
I've got faith that Japan will. I mean, I don't know why I've got a vested interest. Maybe I've got a vested interest in Japan because I think they're a lot better than the other Asian countries. So I'd rather have Japan around than not around, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
I've got faith that Japan will be able to overcome its existential crisis.
I do agree in general they're trying to get rid of.
And I've got faith if that'll be able to fix this problem where I'm getting contamination in my feed line, but
talking about sport and football today.
I don't know where they're coming from.
And rugby. I mean, look at rugby. Look at the Scottish team for rugby. You could, if you've got a New Zealand, grandfather, then all of the bloody New Zealand players and South African players end up, they all bloody you end up with, like, Scotland
ancestrally,
being, like,
those
the
people
B team
are
for
from
South
British
Africa.
Isles.
Ireland
So
used to be the joke,
I've got
but
no
they're just doing
objection
it
to that.
everywhere now, aren't they?
Yeah.
But that's a way they've used sports to.
Yeah, I'm not really too keen on the Japanese games. Mind you, this one, I had to look, there was a dev diary. It's a proper chinky team that makes this game, and they've done a good job, so you know what, why can't the Japanese make proper strategy games? They seem to be much more interested in the skill reflex-based stuff.
Yeah, but it's the free market, against capitalism, boy. I mean, BioRay's going mental right now. You're going against capitalism again. You're doing all this. Listen, at the end of the day, you've got more commies and what.
There's one again. Where are these coming from? Where is the contaminant? I've got to figure this out, because if I don't, it's going to drive me absolutely mental. Like here, for example.
Our enemies,
that one's going out. Right, got it.
Obviously quite advanced people, aren't they? And ours is more. I say ours is more like empathy, if you want to claim that, maybe. IC3.
So because that was going the wrong way.
Their angle is to weaken the black race. Then what's their angle? Is it culture? What's they're in?
Oh, it's the same modeler.
I'm going to let that run out of everything, and then once it does, and then I'll put it back in again and see what happens.
Just destroy all ways in which people can start to organise and bond together.
Yeah, they celebrate diversity by destroying our diversity. He's identified it correctly. So it's not just us that's under attack; it's the coons as well.
What is the end goal, and why are these globalists so powerful and so successful?
All right, okay. Time to do a fill point. So, you see, one of the things he's identified there is the globalists. How are they so powerful? Well, that's where we get into issuance of credit. I can't do that bit for more than a few seconds. It really gets on my tits. It's just so, I'm doing a fill here, but anyway. And what was the other bit he said? Sorry, I completely forgot because I wanted to do humour instead of like serious respond. Let's listen to the coon a bit more because I end up agreeing with him.
I would say the end goal is Zion. Is Zion.
I don't know what he means by Zion.
I don't believe there is an end goal.
So
wait a minute, let me finish.
Yeah, I want to know what this Zion is.
What fools most people is that the end goal, they're just after money. But that, I don't think that is enough to...
He's right. So here's the thing. Now, here's where both Phil and IC3 are right. IC3 is correct in that the end goal is not the money, it's the power from which you derive from the money. And those which are able to issue credit and control debt, because it's all based on debt, our currency, and we all got faith that your credit is worth something, and that the £10 in your pocket will still buy you £10 worth... Well, actually, fuel's not a good example, because as we can see there, your £10 of petrol last year could have bought you a lot more than what it does now. He is correct in that money is not the end goal. Money is like what I would say 99.99% of people in this world are obsessed with and trying to accumulate more of, because they, to gamify it, they are looking for a high score, and you're measured by your material wealth. So there's that, and because of that, this greed, because it does feed into the addiction of greed, one of the 7 deadly sins, it becomes a very destructive, non-sustainable, and I know shitheads use the term sustainable, but it's actually a valuable concept. You don't, I mean, if you're going to be like, say you're a shepherd and you eat your flock of sheep, then, well, what have you got to sell next year? So you got to have, like, you can eat your sheep, but you got to do it at a sustainable rate. You got to, like, let them reproduce more than you kill them off. So we got an unsustainable capitalist system. See, feels right. But at the same time, IC3 is correct. It's like, yeah, but that's a means to an end. What is the end goal? The end goal is complete and utter control of humanity, complete subjugation and domination of all of it. Not just us. I mean, that's the bit which we're concerned about, but you can be sort of ancillary concerned with these other races because, like, you know, I'd rather work with them than against them. But I'd rather work with IC3 and sending him to Jamaica than having him in England. Because, you know, if there was enough carrot, I'm sure he'd be happy to move there. And especially when we figured out, like, there's health benefits where you've got more sunshine and you've got dark melanated skin, you're going to need more sunshine, otherwise you're going to be vitamin D deficient.
Organised under. They're going somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't think they know what their end goal is personally.
Yeah, I don't believe they are, because
complete subjugation of all humanity and abridgment of the human spirit. It's the devil's goal.
There's no way it can't be.
Does just think about the animal kingdom. Does a parasite have an end goal, or does it just keep going and going and going until its host is dead?
It just keeps going until the host is dead.
And why, you know, can we apply what happens in the animal kingdom?
Well, what's the end goal of the devil? I mean, is it to destroy life or to subjugate it and make it live in eternal suffering?
Against its own nature, because the nature of a virus is to evolve inside the human body until it can live with us and co-inhabit in society and survive, whereas a parasite...
Yeah, I see what you mean, Nordic, and the thing is, that's why I call those people useful idiots, because they're materially obsessed with material power, but the fact is, the ones which control them are spiritual. They are very spiritual people. And that's not necessarily a good thing. I mean, you got people sacrificing babies to the devil. They're spiritual.
Well, they're motivated by profit, aren't they?
What if those depressions are managed? What if they're managed?
Yeah. You see, that's where I disagree with you and Phil, Nordic.
That you're describing.
I think there is a metaphysical aspect to this, and I think it's the most important thing. I think ultimately we're in an information war, which is a spiritual war.
There's big, you know.
Well, recession, you see it, the bankers, the government, they still get their paychecks, right? While the people with the, obviously, they're...
Here's another point, right. So you see, the thing with these banks and the issue and boom and bust cycles... with these boom and bust cycles, yeah, is every single time I think it's almost like a fisherman, like casting out a net. So you cast your net far and wide, that's issuing liquidity, and then when you calling in your debts, you do a credit crunch, as they call it. Then what you're doing is you're pulling the net in, you're drawing it tight, and then suddenly, oh look, you've got all these juicy fish in your net. So every time they issue out this credit, people do stuff with it. They take the money, which is like means they can pay labour. So I mean, one example is just like somebody builds a bakery. They're like, oh yeah, I've got credit issued by the government, and they take a disused, run-down, derelict site. They patch the holes in the wall. They get it rewired. They put nice new plate glass window in. They install fixtures and fittings. They hire staff. The staff go on to they can have money for a house and start a family and stuff like that. So what they've done there is you've issued credit, which is a make-believe thing. It's just like you've got faith that credit is worth something. Everyone else has got faith that it's worth something. So they accept that, oh yes, this plate glass window will cost you £4,000 to, install parts and labour. And then you go, oh yeah, that's okay, I've got £4,000 for that, and you install it, and there you go. So what you've done is you've got some faith, and it's transferred, and it's become real world things. And then when the bank says, yeah, we're calling in those loans, it's like, yeah, but I've only just started up the business for the past 6 months. It's going to take me at least 3 years to recoup all my initial investment. But you can't do that because the bank's calling in, so you're forced to sell up your business, and it's like the bank's done absolutely fuck all. You've done all the hard work, you've put your personal equity at stake, and they're the ones that end up controlling it. So the ones that issue credit, they're the ones that have got the real power. So anyway, let's carry on here. I've got another question, but I'm going to wait until Phil gets on the Sunday show.
He a load of companies or whatever just before Black Friday and made billions out of it. So if you know there's going to be a crash and you short companies,
that's right. You got the inside info.
Yeah, just in terms of people knowing
corporate rent seeking. Yeah, that's a good term for it.
Like the US Senate, they were all selling the fucking shares, weren't they, just before the lockdowns happened? So we know, they know that we know, but they just don't give a shit.
Not anymore. They've got to the stage where they can just get away with it now.
Of course, depressions are manufactured. I mean, just look at the Weimar Republic. That depression was manufactured, and
look at the coronavirus.
Eventually, the people fought back.
Look at the coronavirus. There's a lot of billionaires who've made a lot. Well, quintupled their net worth over this.
Yeah, Elon Musk's overtaken, hasn't he, for richest man in the world?
Which is going to become harder to do, Nordic, because
so
I mean,
there's two lines of thought.
I don't even want to say I'm part of the problem, because it's like, yeah, I'm using a graphics card to mine cryptocurrency, but yeah, they are pushing hard for a cashless society, and that's a real warning sign.
There's one line say, they're in power because they're just riding the waves. They're riding the waves. And then there's another line of thought where there's another group that they're managing, that planning wars in order to move certain things. So
they're in power because they're aligned with the devil, and this is the devil's world.
Parallel because those that know, they can choose to just throw scraps of information to the ignorant every now and then.
Breadcrumbs,
and the ignorant
leaving a bread trail.
Don't know the actual big plan. They don't know the big plan. So both lines of.
So this is a thing, right? So there's two things here. One of them, this Fremen on the Sand, very erudite fellow, and I can't read what he said because the bar's in the way. He's just reiterated what I've said. Yeah, there we go. Now, Devil's got this world. Yeah, it's setting up breadcrumbs, and this is the thing with the conspiracy stuff. Conspiracy candy. It's like you pick up all these breadcrumbs, all these pieces of candy, and going like, oh yeah, I'm getting closer to the truth. I'm getting closer to the truth, and it's like eventually you sort of realise like you'll never know it all. And I think it's easy enough to just say, yeah, devil rules this world. Okay, how can I get right with God? What can I do to like physically make this world better, make it a bit more divine and sacred, but make it a bit more good? And from that, you need to master your physical domain. You need some material wealth to do it. So, yeah, this is important.
Thought can be going at the same time.
How about this one in IC3? How about like they're all in it together, except the Jews are the worst at it, and that's why I'm doing this video, Nordic, because I thought it was very interesting, and I wanted to talk about it uninterrupted. Yeah, because they're greedy and they're stupid.
Every time the system goes tits up, they go, oh, it's the Jews, and you go, fucking Jews, and they go, yeah.
Yeah, but it is though.
Fucking Jews wasn't me. I'm fucking me. I'm on your side. Fucking
that's
Jews
right.
again.
That's right. Yes, it's something
Jews.
like that. That's why I said last time that I believe that this ism is.
I don't think it's too hard to identify your enemies. You judge. I mean, Jesus says it. You judge them by their fruits, not their words. Judge them by the actions.
It's a combination of Judaism. They use Judaism. And they use whiteism, and they mix them together, and they've
I think whiteism is IC3 Kumbumberklat's way of saying Anglo pride worldwide. Because, I mean, sure, yeah, the French and the Germans, they got functional societies, but when we're talking about true white supremacy, you're talking about the Anglo influence on the world.
Created a new ism, and I don't know the name of that ism.
Well, with the white
No, it's not Jewish. It's not Jewish.
It's capitalism.
You know, he might actually be harking on to something there, because, I mean, there was this thing of the British Israelites, and that was popular in the 19th century, talking about how the Britons are a lost tribe of Israel, and because of that, that is why we have been divinely appointed by God to have dominance over the world, because, well, you can empirically prove, like, who's the most dominant civilization? Who is the most advanced civilization? Oh, the Anglo civilization. Well, there you go. Okay, right. So let's carry on with this.
IC3.
No.
Neo-conservatism or whatever.
Oops, didn't mean to do that.
Capitalism is just the use of capital, correct?
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? What's the problem?
Capitalism has become.
What's wrong with that is Phil doesn't have enough of it. Same with me.
He who dies with the most money wins. That's what capitalism has become.
Yeah, he's right there. Max Kaiser correctly identified the phenomenon of suicide bankers. During the 9/11 crisis, as the buildings were going down, and there's like the computer records to prove it, there were bankers in those towers making trades right up to the last second, right before the bombs went off.
We have capitalism. Globalism is capitalism as well, and everyone's going to say globalism. This is all capitalism. Capitalism creates the political ideologies that fucking exist. They use all sorts of justifications to, it's like with liberalism. It's like, oh, we're all liberal.
Again, Phil's identified that a car won't run without a fuel pump, but he's not identified that without the engine, that fuel pump's going to do nothing.
It's not about money. Those who have power.
So I'm saying that capitalism in this car analogy is part of the system. It's not the thing what makes it go.
But the mentality is IC3. It's he who dies with the most money wins. That is their mentality. You know, Bill Gates.
Well, you know that film They Live, and he looks at the dollar bill and it says, "This is your God." Yeah, it's right. I mean, that certainly is how they're treating it. These useful idiots, these materialist ones, the Gog and Magog, they certainly they don't see anything except like they see that dollar bill and then go, "This is your God," and go, "Yep, that's my God." They don't believe in any other God except for the almighty dollar.
Bill Gates has got a 200-foot yacht. I've got to have a 245-foot yacht. He's got a 245-foot yacht. I've got to have a 300-foot yacht. That's the mentality they are in.
I don't think so.
I don't think that's the only. I don't think that's the only aim. I think you don't understand how evil some of these people are. It's not just about money. That's why they push so many.
Top Cat, you are correct. Now stop being a big girl's blouse.
Different. I mean, just you name it. LGBTQP.
They get caught doing satanic rituals, don't they?
You can't just start a building and fill it up with printers and print loads with money.
We've got to a stage in our country where laws don't need to be passed anymore because corporations tell us what the laws are, i.e. wear a mask in our store. But there's no law for that. We don't care. Wear a mask in our store.
Like human rights have been violated during the current.
He's got a point, and the thing is, you don't really need harsh enforcement of tyranny, because in that example he just cited, it's a guideline, it's not a law, but there will be a lot of social pressure from workers and other shop goers if you don't comply. So yeah, correctly identified there.
Coronavirus pandemic, technically, but they just went, yeah, whatever, fuck that, they don't mean anything. So hold on a minute, fuck off. There's even a law, there's even a human right that says you can't violate the human rights.
Yeah, you can just print money, Keynesian economics, modern monetary theory.
That's only to make sure rapists have a nice cell in prison.
Was like the vaccine passport. Like the vaccine passport goes against the Nuremberg Code, but they don't give a fuck.
Like,
They want to
listen,
make money.
how can this make me money? This makes me money. That's the
Oh,
law.
sorry, I muted myself. So let's repeat that again. The point about the Nuremberg Code specifically is that you can't do medical procedures on people without their consent. So the example cited in the Nuremberg trial was you have to give people the right to make decisions, be it good or bad. I mean, a lot of people say that smoking, red wine, and eating bacon are all bad for you, but you all have the liberty to do those things. So that is why you should. It was basically said, it was a very big point of it, that you can't just do experimental medical procedures on people. That's a war crime.
Shut the fuck up and let me make money, you fucking socialist.
Well, it's like in America, I can't remember which state it is, but there's a state
you're right.
in America, I think it might be
in
Michigan,
the UK,
where they're
Birmingham,
basically
South
saying they'll give
Wales,
people $50
Republic of Ireland, that's not
if
UK.
they take
They all have
people from their
fluoridated
local
water.
community to get their
Thames water has
coronavirus
calcium
injections.
fluoride, which is naturally
seen,
occurring. Still not good for you, but it's not as
the
bad
Daily
as the
Mail
toxic
yesterday,
waste they pump in.
And they've got articles with all these various, like, not only celebrities are getting them, but people are clapping and cheering that hey, I've got the jab. It's just fucking and Phil, do you remember that one from East?
Let's look at last year's winners of the Running Man. See their beautiful holiday here in Hawaii.
I just went and got me jab.
Sticker and everything.
Brilliant.
He had a sticker, and he was like, "I've got a sticker, you fucking dummy. You're part of the." They tried to make out you racist if you haven't had the job.
He had the gay little sticker, and then they made the point of the woman who was denying the science of the vaccine was buying a packet of cigarettes.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I love that capitalist propaganda. It's beautiful. It's horrible.
IC3, what's your opinion on the COVID stuff? Is it used against us, or is it normal? Is it legit? What's your opinion on this?
I think we've got to focus on. You see, the way you're all going, you're all saying, "Oh, they're after money, money. They're after money," and that's the basis of all your. That's all your basis of your arguments. And I'm against that. I'm saying that they want complete control of people. They want complete.
Why do they want complete control of people? Because, Phil, the true wealth in this world is people and their labour. It's not gold. You need someone's labour to extract that from the ground and refine it. It's not wealth. You need someone's labour to create it. The true wealth in this world is always will be and always has been people's labour.
They want control of people.
Right, because that gives because they want that they have the moral high ground. That's what gives them the power. Is that they feel that they have the moral high ground in that they're working to end all war.
Well, they see us as cattle, don't they? I mean, that's why they call it a vaccination, because it's something that you give a cow. I mean, vax is vacus. I know the story is like, oh, well, there's cowpox, and so if we call it a vaccination, it's like, yeah. Or alternatively, you could be like, this is something you give to cattle. So, yeah.
Wars and bring peace to the whole world. So that's
that's the narrative that
money, everything they do. The end goal is to manage the world effectively.
Because war's bad for globalism, IC3. That's why war's been stuck, because it's bad for globalism.
Let me think.
Wars and disorder are they see as a necessary step to dismantle.
You have built a powerful energy
order out of chaos.
Structures that may challenge their ultimate structure.
Well, that's a good point.
Just like you go about destroying, you go and mess up somebody else's family or mess up a community because you believe that you have a better way of running the country and running the people. And all these different ideas have to be crushed.
Why are Iran being seen as bad? I see.
Pardon?
Iran has not got a central bank along with North Korea, so they're not part of the globalist system.
IC3. Why are Iran the current boogeyman? Why are they so bad?
Because they got oil.
Because they're not
There's no oil in North Korea, and yet they're bad.
they're not submitting. They're not submitting to the powers that are trying
pipeline.
to.
They're not allowing the Jews to have their fucking pipeline. That's why.
Yeah.
What it comes down to, right, is that you're saying they want to control people. The next question is, why do they want to control people? They want to control
Well, it's
people
because they want
so they can have more shit.
Well, it's like
No,
Africa.
more than
Yeah,
that.
that's what they want to do. They want to smash Iran up so they can get a McDonald's in there. IC3.
Well, why does China control all these African?
Yeah,
mineral
McDonald's
rich
is the
countries?
US embassy
And why are they
of the
ones
world.
that build
It's
all
like
of our
if
computers,
you've got a
build all of our
McDonald's, it's like
phones,
you
that
are
take all
part
of
of the
these
US
valuable
cultural
resources and
empire.
minerals that they're the ones getting. You know, it's,
Okay.
You know what I remember. What I remember on the news as a kid as being the greatest like symbol of the defeat of Soviet Russia. It was when Moscow finally got a McDonald's. And I actually remember that on the news, and it was
Yeah, I mean the Golden Arches are effectively the US flag, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean Rome
Yeah.
would plant Aquilas somewhere when they
Yeah, but
conquered the
it's
land,
not
and
about
America plants
the
McDonald's.
and the burgers and the money. It's what McDonald's represents.
Exactly.
Well,
Capitalism.
It's capitalism, yeah.
I would say it represents globalism.
Are completely on the money. Oh yeah, because McDonald's. Oh, because they're gonna make more money on No, it's not about
Right.
McDonald's.
They don't want to control
McDonald's
people for no
represents a
reason.
culture. McDonald's is culture. It's not just business.
Yes.
It's the way that the McDonald's.
Yeah, it's American culture. It's American culture. And American.
I mean, this is Strange Worlds when I'm agreeing more with IC3 Bumperclack Coon than I am my own friends. It's just
culture's
It's not
cancer.
just
We know
about
this.
burgers and money. That's nothing.
Why do they want a specific culture? They want a liberal culture because that sort of culture makes them the most fucking money. That's all
You're
about
back to the money.
means to an end, mate.
It also breaks up.
No,
It also breaks up communities.
we go back to the money IC3 because we see that as what is being the primary driving force behind this.
Of course,
It's
that's the
fuel for
trick.
the fire, right?
That's the trick. Because everybody's head is locked into money and they're just laughing at you. That's why I put there that the printing of the money printers.
Yeah, but you can't do that. You can't just buy a factory and set up.
Yes, you can. You just add some zeros to the database and gone, yep, the national debt's been increased this much. We got this extra bit of credit.
Unlimited money printers and just print money. Do you know how inflation works?
Yeah,
You can't do that.
I don't think anybody knows how inflation works, because why did Weimar go into hyperinflation? And yet, they didn't have the International Monetary Fund back then. They didn't have unlimited credit.
Right. Okay. So Okay. So look at this.
I mean, the fact that America's not gone into
Your positions.
gone into hyperinflation, I think, just proves modern monetary theory works. I mean, the amount of there's like trillions and trillions of dollars. It's no way anybody would be able to pay off. It's more than the GDP of the world. And there's all this debt. It never gets paid off, and yet things carry on functioning as they don't grind to a halt. They'll grind to a halt if the banks ever decide, yeah, we're going to call in all this credit, and we're going to call in all our debts and stop issuing credit. I mean, that would be more effective than any nuclear bomb. It'd be very interesting to see just how fragile the system is.
It's all about money. At the end of the day, it's just making more and more money. I differ. I say that money is just a tool, and the end goal is one world government.
Yeah, complete world
government
domination.
Will be managed by the gods.
That's right.
Those that see themselves as gods.
Right. Okay,
That's right.
Simple as that. That's the end goal.
Okay, forget about money, right? So the thing is, ultimately, the reason why they like capitalism is because it distributes resources and commodities to the people at the top of the highway.
Just like a fuel pump distributes fuel into the engine so that it can go.
The stuff. So if I'm a capitalist, it's not really about money. It's that money is a tool that I can a thing that I can use to buy loads of shit. I have loads of shit. I have loads of power. I have loads of things. I'm basically a god when I have enough money. The reason why people are motivated by money under capitalism is because if you have enough of it, you become a fucking god, essentially. So it's not just
Well, that's
about money,
the con.
What money can buy you under capitalism.
Well, it's materialism. Money is the doorway to materialism.
Yeah, you become a fucking god. If you're Bill Gates, you are fucking king of the planet.
They're not collecting paper money. They're buying land and all that.
It sounds similar.
Yeah.
What we're saying, but money is just the best
means to an end.
Best and most effective management tool.
I mean, who needs actual like physical chains of iron when you can make chains of gold, right? They call it golden handcuffs.
Wake up in the morning and worship their tools. They wake up in the morning and use the tools to build what they would need to build.
Yeah, but
it just needs to be the best. It's the best tool. It's not about the tool.
Right, it's not just about the tool. It's about how they can get the resources and the power, essentially.
Why is that not working?
By focusing on
Pursuit of money keeps people in slavery. Don't need chains. Yeah, well done, mate. You made the point I just made now.
They're motivated by. They're motivated by power and their own self-interest more than anything.
Yeah, you're right. Money is power, but the ones that issue the money, they're the ones that control the power. That's what I'm hoping to establish in this exciting action replay of last night's stimulating debate.
The more compliant as well.
Oh yeah, compliance. Well, actually, yeah, compliance as well. Like, sort of rebel against the system, whatever. Then don't fucking do it.
Well, yeah, you have to be compliant. Like, look, a couple of years ago, they propped up Caitlyn Jenner as being this marvel of humankind. Now Caitlyn Jenner's turned around and said, actually, I don't think that trans boys should be playing in sport with girls. They've turned on her. Caitlyn Jenner is now a Nazi.
Focus on the Doge.
I mean, Bruce Jenner, you know, the decathlon Olympic gold medal is like, to me, it's the most alpha Olympic gold medal because it means you're a fast sprinter, you've got stamina for the longer races, you've got great technique, you can jump higher or further, and you can throw the shot put on a discus further than everyone. So it was the ultimate fucking action.
So it's a humiliation ritual, destroying these athletes, destroying these role models.
Fucking completely demolished him.
Just linking it back to previous conversations, I think, in the 70s, they were feeding him so many fucking different types of drugs that when he came off them, his body produced the estrogen on like an uncontrollable level.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Let's make it 12. I like 12 as a number.
Last distance.
I was about to say that trannies are the most Chad people anyway. They're always like fucking Chads, aren't they? Like gold medal sprinters and stuff.
Mate.
It's like that man one that went to GameStop and was smashing the
not
whole
all
bloody
trannies
shop
are
apart.
Chad muscle brown freaks.
Truth Angel will rip a radiator off a wall, wouldn't he?
Yeah. Trannies on the front line.
I can't remember who told me. It's a bit of a degenerate one-liner, but he said there's nothing more alpha than fucking another man up his ass.
You're a fucking gay.
Was that Charlie Big Potatoes told you that?
That might be a fascist fitness quote.
Okay, so if money is the problem, what is your solution then? What is your solution?
Here we go,
His solution is killing the Iranians.
Yeah, remember, that's why I came on. We're going to discuss what the solution is. I said, can we agree on what the problem is? And we don't agree on what the problem is. So let's hear what the solution is for the way you see the problem. Because obviously my solution is going to be different from you.
The solution is we take away their tool.
No, Nordic. I want to hear Phil's solution. Phil seems animated about this.
We seize the means of production.
We seize the means of production.
And we seize
You could have grabbed him by the pussy.
The means of production.
Yeah.
Are you all agreed on that? Has anybody disagreed on that?
I agree.
Are you all unified? Yeah. Are you unified on that?
Yes.
To seize the means of production.
It's the only way to do it because there are more of us than there are them.
Okay.
It needs to operate in the interests of our nation, religion, and people. That's what the system should be. We should have an economic system and political system that works in our collective interest, not the interests of this elite caste of people who are degenerate evil.
That's nationalism.
The reason they push individualism, IC3, is because they know that if enough of us are clued in on this and are thinking in our racial and national interest, they wouldn't be able to keep the pitchforks away.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right. So, 2 points I've gathered from what you're saying.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
seize
6,
the
7,
means of
8,
production.
9, 10.
And 2, unite.
Can I say something else as well? Brutus would say seize the means of reproduction as well, so maybe...
Grab him by the pussy.
Okay, and 2, in order to seize the means of production...
Fuck all those cunts.
Literally.
You have to unite effectively, correct?
Oh, I'm gonna have to dismantle all of these. They don't bloody work.
By any chance?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Now, so how do you think that this is your solution for the problem that you imagine exists? Right. So, how do you effectively seize the means of production?
What,
well, that's not really for YouTube, is it?
That's the $1 million question.
Well, that's a tough one to answer because you're not going to do it via the ballot box.
I believe the term there is legally actionable. So bit of a struggle. However, some people do identify that at one point people were in the pubs organising about the poll tax. That's it. And on Brexit.
It has to be physical.
Yeah, we don't have pubs anymore. We can't go in there, and you can't sort of all be gathering around one table because they're like, coronavirus. So, could be interesting to try and do organising now.
Well, that's the only way it's ever been done. That's the only way it could ever be done. Right. And in that case,
all you need is deodorant. That's all I've got to say.
and fireworks.
Oh, I smell onions being fried.
That's making me hungry. Long lighters.
Yeah, all those long matches they'll do.
But in terms of taking the tool away, IC3, obviously you still want money, but there was a country in Europe many years ago, and it took the tool away from its oppressors very easily, and it said, fuck off to the bankers, and it printed its own money. And if
JFK tried to, he did the same thing as well.
That's when I messed them up.
Can I stop you there, Tommy? Because Unwashed has already explained this to me. Unwashed told me that they weren't being demographically replaced, so that's not a valid solution.
What, is it printing your own money?
National socialism is not a valid. National socialism is not a valid. Not a valid cure for our problem because they weren't being demographically squeezed.
When Germans were starving in the street and they needed a wheelbarrow full of money to buy a loaf of bread, they didn't.
Well, the thing is, whenever
I had to explain it 3 times to Phil because he just couldn't wrap his head around how retarded a fucking statement that was.
I'll just tie those 2 things up. He's a dick, innit?
Whenever I'm talks about things like National Socialism and communism, I'll just switch off because this motherfucker doesn't even know what the fuck he is talking about.
He doesn't need to know either.
They aren't real National Socialists. They're just people that like posting pictures of Hitler and like dreaming of 1930 Germany.
Like I've said before, they're a degenerate libertarian club. But yeah, IC3, go on. Where were you leading us?
Yeah. Okay. So you see that seizing the means of production is the solution. And so we're moving on now. We're moving on. Now we're going to move on. I'm following along your lines of thought, right? So now, what is the
hold on. Phil's got something to add. IC3.
Got something to say. Via Ray, are you listening? Via Ray, please listen. And please comment in the back chat if you can. Yeah, go on, IC3.
Yeah, okay. So I'm just following along your path. So money's they're trying to make money, and the solution to counter the globalists is to seize the means of production. And I'm asking you, what is the most effective way to seize the means of production? And then some people are saying, well, let's start cracking jokes because we can't say this on online. Yeah?
I've been asked to do some cooking and some spag bowl. That's why I could smell onions frying.
Online.
So I'll have to pop out in a bit.
You have a communication problem then. How are you going to organize effectively to seize the means of production? How are you going to communicate in order to organize effectively?
What you need to make the general public angry enough about what's being done to them.
And it's happening. You can see it now with COVID. COVID seems to I don't want to speak too soon, but it seems like COVID's the straw that's broken the camel's back.
I don't want to blackpill everyone, but has everyone just seen that in the local elections the Tories fucking romped home?
Yeah, I saw they absolutely smashed Hartlepool, didn't they? But that needs to happen. Yeah. That needs to happen. Labour can't be a party that anyone could accidentally get into power. They need to be destroyed, and once they're destroyed, like the Liberal Democrats, then we go for the Tories.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. When there's a socialist party that's very as our cultural party, because that's what's going to happen. Because the problem is,
you feature in this game now. You can now draw a line to where you want to go, and it'll give you a distance time.
But their policies on immigration, globalism, liberalism, gay rights, BLM, all this shit, is what loses them elections.
How can their economics be spot on though? Aren't Labour the ones that say we want mass
full
immigration,
power,
but
and
let's
it would
just
take
have
me 3 minutes to get there.
Solve the problem.
Well, okay, fair enough. Yeah, that's where they're wrong. They're wrong on their cultural issues. Yeah, you're right to a certain degree. But the point is, once they've lost, there will be no effective opposition to them. It's my belief that the next election in England, they will get annihilated. And when they do get annihilated,
look at Lib Dem.
5 seconds.
Definitely the opportunity for a nationalist organisation.
They nearly got annihilated by UKIP, but they still fucking crawled back to life with fucking Steptoe.
Well, it's like if you look at until the 2019 election, the Liberal Democrats were sort of holding on. They were just about classing.
How did everyone organise against the poll tax? Well, we've already been over that bit.
Yeah, they had a bit of a dead cat bounce, didn't they? You heard of the dead cat bounce, haven't you?
Yeah. They talk about dead cat bounces on the stock market.
It's a stock market phrase, isn't it?
Yeah.
Dead
cat bounce.
In terms of organising IC3, I think someone did say in the chat,
so what
I had
saying...
a similar idea. Just in pubs, in person, and make your voice heard in your local communities. Talk to people in town centres. Start small.
So the most effective way to seize the means of production, you're saying, is to get the people angry enough, right? So what you're doing, going out there, talking to people, trying to raise awareness just to get people angry. And then when the people are angry, then what?
They will seize the means of production. They'll say, "This is our shit now. You're all going."
I think that you get a critical mass once enough people do something. Then that's how you get to the situation.
If just angry people,
nothing will happen if people aren't motivated. Anger is a big motivator. It makes a lot of stuff happen.
Then you get chaos, and then the globalists will just come in and
do
clean
get
up.
chaos, but the trick is, and this is something which I think all leaders I've identified, is you get order out of chaos. So you get enough anger, and then you get the chaos out of it, and then you go, right, here's what the new order's going to be. You destroy something, and then using the rubble, you can rebuild it, or you can decide to completely sweep it away and build something new on the place.
Infuriated with this because the thing is that generally speaking, the people on the left will have no one to represent them.
Well, I think we can all agree that acceptance of paedophilia is coming from the Tory party, isn't it?
Yes, it will.
And Labour, they're all part of it. There's not a Rizzler Papist gap between Labour and the right and the left in the UK.
They're not going to have a party that represents them, be you right wing or left wing.
There is no party that represents us.
If you're right wing, you're going to have no one representing representing you culturally? No one.
Yeah.
Right? And if you're left wing, you're going to have no one representing you economically. So there's going to be a
Right.
new party that represents both the economics and the cultural issues.
fascism,
That's
that
all
is.
down.
IC3, how did you earn your Iron Cross?
Well done,
Secret.
Tolkat. I did appreciate that bit.
Right.
Same
So
way, the same
you're
way
hoping-
I earned my red laces.
All right. So you're hoping in the future, you're
Oh, yeah,
hoping
I
the
can
do
people
that,
get
can't I?
angry. And you're hoping the
I
people
think,
get
I think
angry
it's,
enough.
it's
Yeah, I've
kind
got
of
faith that's
inevitable.
gonna
I don't think we're hoping it. It's gonna happen.
Again, like the EDL with the Britain First, we need to organise that anger, that energy. If you know what I mean? 'Cause
Yes.
you are kind of right, Icy3. That you get angry and you get the thuggish types that just do the, get drunk and
Chaos, mess
Right
all
a
over
bit.
the place.
Yeah,
Right.
and of course the police.
And then you've got to
to
find creative outlets for that type of
well, they're absolute
energy.
idiots. I can kind of sympathise with the police, so I understand what you
Right.
mean. But again, we need to
Exactly.
organise that fucking energy so
Yeah,
we
see,
can.
Right, that's
The
right.
police-
so
the
that
police
energy
is
is
one of
power.
those
You're generating
It
power.
needs to be.
If you don't
It
have
needs to
an
be
engine-
built up.
if
The
you don't have an
energy needs to be
engine
built up first.
To put that to organize that power, then it's going to chaos, and then the globalists are going to clean up. They're going to say, "Look, you see, you need us to come and sort
Well, yeah,
you
that's
out."
the problem. Whenever
The
you
young
upset the
ideas,
balance of
all
the
the angry
system,
giving them a
there will
reason.
always
This
be
is why we're
people
getting
trying to
called
push it to their
partly-
Let's
way.
drag them all up. We're going to drag
like
you all up
a-
and lock you all up.
Exactly.
You have to,
The thing is,
you
we
have
know the
to-
status
you
quo
have
is
to take that
unsustainable,
weapon
and the
away.
status quo does
What
not
do you
benefit
mean?
What
us.
The weapon of the authority, the police, the armed gang of the government.
What?
You have to replace them. You have to replace them with people that are going to fight for you. The police used to, in this
Yeah,
country,
he's
used to work
right.
for the people.
I
not
think
for
you could
the
agree
government.
that in times
Whereas
gone
it
past, the
changed.
police were a
We
benefit,
used to be
but
policed by
now
consent.
more and more they are
I'm not
a
saying you
political
need to-
enforcement
was one
class.
where the police weren't politicised either, but have you seen what police
Yeah.
vans look like these days with
You
all the
need-
Yeah,
rainbow
common
flags and that?
purpose has turned
You
them
need
into
to
the
make-
political
you need to
enforcement.
make the
They are the
police not
Politburo.
want to get involved because there's more of us than there is of them.
Okay. So, now, what comes first? Getting the people angry enough, because this is your solution now.
Yeah.
Get the people angry enough, then form a new party,
Yeah.
or
Both.
form a new party so that when the people get angry enough, they've got a place to go.
Right, okay. So you got to do both. It's not an either-or situation. Let me explain that. So if you just get people angry and then there's chaos, when you don't have a plan to organise the chaos, then you're fucked. Those that have got contingencies for chaos, they will enact those contingencies, and then you'll be in a worse situation than before when the chaos and anger started. So, but at the same time, you certainly do not want to be public about your plans, like, oh yes, we're beginning to advocate for chaos and violence. And certainly not doing any of that. No siree. Certainly not. But you could have a think tank which discusses things about a conspiracy. Now there's a word which you don't want to hear in court. So you'd have a think tank which would just speculate if there was an upset to the status quo, what could be done, what societal changes could be done to make things more beneficial for your group, your vested interests. So you do that. But if you do stuff in Parliament and just say, oh yeah, we're going to do this and that, we're going to kick all the coons out, then you ain't going to get far. And when the chaos happens, you're going to be the first thing the political enforcement team goes to shut down. It's like, all right, we got chaos now. We can't effectively arrest you and house you in prison, so we've just got to just kill you. That's the only way we can contain this threat, which you are. So you don't go announcing your plans, but at the same time, you have a plan. You at least have a foundation.
I think the anger needs to be built up first. I believe.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
have
yeah,
action without anger.
What?
Yeah.
It's hard to convince someone that oh, we got to build.
I mean,
a
yes,
wall.
you can have calm, calculated action, but unfortunately, most people are not driven by calm calculations. They're driven by emotion, and the motivator which gets people off their asses, like the poll tax, is anger.
You know what I mean? There's a
The
need
people
for it.
form out of the anger. The anger's got to come first.
Yeah, there's a need for it, and we're supplying it. That's the thing. We're not supplying for their need, for the future need. There's a need out there for a nationalist party, and then we got to supply it.
People are already angry, but they're not, you know, not to insult the general public, but they're not educated. I mean, the anger's already there, and they don't know where to funnel it because they don't even know what they're angry at. So
angry, uneducated people. Jeez, you got problems there. Angry and uneducated.
No,
what?
In terms of
anger is a good motivator for organisation. Very true. The poll tax was an anger issue.
You know, who is controlling what and why they're doing it. But
right.
people are angry and they see what's going on, but they're just not able to identify the underlying cause, which is why you need nationalist organisations set up first to speak to people in town
pointless bickering is a lot like the armchair generals. If I was in power, I'd do this, this, and this. If I was king for the day, I'd do this, this, and that. It's like, but you're not in power and you're not the king.
See,
so all you're is doing a form of mental
feel free
masturbation.
To tell me I'm wrong if you want to, but I believe that this party you speak of already exists, but the people within it have forgotten that they're part of it. And this party's called England. It's called Britain.
Yeah,
it's called what we used to be.
Yeah,
all these parties.
That's nationalist.
That is just a way of siding people against each other. We don't need parties. Okay. What we need is a greater British movement.
I'll agree there. You know, I'm talking about solutions under the current system, but absolutely, I don't believe in democracy at all. It is just another tool, just like money. Like we were talking about, democracy is just another tool to break up a nation. But IC3, don't say exclamatory. Angry and uneducated is the one insulting the people. They are angry. When I say uneducated, I don't mean the knuckle dragging buffoons or anything. I just mean they don't know what the underlying cause is of their anger and frustration. Yeah,
they're angry, but they haven't defined what they're angry at. Is that a better way of putting it?
And that's
they haven't defined the problem. They know something's wrong, but you can tell when you speak to everybody. Everybody knows something's wrong, but they don't know what's wrong. I think is what we're trying to say.
Right?
Am I right?
Sure, and you can introduce people, very simply. I mean, there's that Tucker Carlson clip.
I don't know why it's flickering, but it sure is flickering.
Playing, you can introduce people with very simple examples that they could relate to, like. Your granddad was able to support himself, his wife, 3 kids, and afford a home and holidays, and he was only, a bus driver.
It's probably because of the Dyson.
How come you and your missus have to work in
I don't like that.
All day, and all you can do is afford to rent a 1-bed flat? Just taking down that road.
Nordic. Top Cat identified it correctly.
So you're going to try and bring up nostalgia, how the good old days, how it used to be. How it should organise people along
just
those lines.
simple economic truths. Things were better back in the old days. That is an objective
watching all the
truth.
social media, the whole, it's a whole different world now. So who are you going to be saying that to?
Young people can't afford homes. Young people they're worse off. Young people can't afford to own a house.
The young people would be the easiest to speak to. IC3, when you've got like a 21-year-old lad who still has to live with his parents because he can't afford to rent a place close to his work.
Try 25 or 28 toppy for some people.
Yeah. Can't have a family, can't move out, can't get married.
Okay, talking about problems. We're talking about solutions now, because we can whinge and whinge and whinge for hours about what's wrong and what's wrong. But when it comes to talking solutions, the conversation becomes very difficult because not many people think about solutions. All right, so it seems that we've gone full circle because you said you were saying that people don't know enough.
If we are as a species going against our nature, I would say there is a supernatural force, I think, because
we have to agree.
It should be very simple for a species just to keep on doing its biological imperative. When you've got abortion and people being sterile and not being able to afford to have a family, These
on what
are
the problem
supernatural
is, and then you've got to try and promote
events
you've got to
which
try
are
and make,
fucking with us.
get all
They
the
are
people
fucking with us.
to understand and
We're getting
agree that
fucked
that is
hard,
the
and I
actual
don't
problem.
like it.
No, you don't want a democracy because the thing is that you want to literally just seize the means of production and solve the problems that affect their life. Obviously, a lot of people can't understand the grand scope of the problem, not because they're idiots.
Why
but
am I
because they're
here?
focused on other aspects of their
Not
life.
everybody,
This
not
light's
everybody is
flickering as
political,
well.
and not everybody
That's
needs
fine,
to be political,
that's
do
fine.
they?
Why is the light
Right, there
flickering?
you go.
But the thing is, if you want to solve the problems, they're quite easy. It's like, okay, you're a 21-year-old, you haven't got
It's
a
easy,
job.
is it?
Yeah, it really is, yeah.
The problem, we solve this problems. Go, it's easy.
It might be a bug in the
Yeah, it is,
game,
it's really
but
fucking easy.
Go
Well,
ahead,
they are.
explain.
Some of the best
right, okay.
plans are the easiest to fix, and
It's
that's the
easy.
problem.
You said to start with the problem is easy. Right, let's listen.
Okay, then. So if you want to deal with the housing problem, it's quite simple. You take away.
was I coming
the
here
property
for
from
the
these
EM
parasitic
rail
landlords
projectors?
who
But I
are
can just have them
effectively,
sent remotely, so...
artificially
Yeah, there
increasing
they
the
are.
prices of their property so they're not affordable.
And that's easy, is it?
Well, yeah. Well, anybody that owns a property in the UK that isn't, a UK citizen, that's moved away. That is, like a Chinese businessman, for instance. Take
Yeah,
all
we
his
are being...
properties
That's
away.
societal change.
House people
That's
immediately.
artificial
And
imposition.
that's easy. Just to take the property away
which,
from these rich people.
forces
That's
us-
Told me the problem is easy.
Taxes
and
are
that's one
social
easy
engineering.
thing
There
to
we
do.
go. That's
Any
what I
other
was looking
easy
for.
things to do? You think?
Yeah, well, you can't have the property if the property don't exist, mate.
Well, it's a simple thing to do. The actual logistics of it, if that's what you're trying to get at, but it's a simple, straightforward solution.
The problem is, I'm not going to give you the logistical plan of how we're going to seize the means of production because obviously.
Wait, did I just go past
Oh,
it?
that's his fucking
I
plan.
did.
There we go.
Whoops.
But fuck you,
Okay.
I'm not telling the fucking full
Right,
plan.
right,
I'm not
right.
going to write the fucking manifesto.
Right.
What the fuck?
And
Okay.
obviously, under current hashtag Fed posting
Fed posting,
limitations,
Okay. Right.
you can't really say what needs to be done because it's.
What do you want me to do about the Turner
All right.
diary?
Good point. Good point. Okay. You can't give away your plans to the enemy. Good. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So do you need to give
Oh,
those
well, if I
plans
actually just listened to what they were
to
saying, I wouldn't need
more
to, like,
people?
pause to make the same point.
No, you just need people angry at the right people.
Most people are quite aware of the problem and they know how to organise society.
We all know
What
who
we're
the
talking
real
about is
problem,
nationalism
people
and
problem
socialism.
is.
A lot of people are aware about it. Run a
I don't
society
know why
that
we're
way.
getting into
Quite
such
easy.
specifics here, but no, the answer, IC3, is no. What you'd need is to circulate that plan amongst the vanguard of people. The
most
population.
effective way?
The population, you'd want to educate them, but
Where's
it
my
would only be
thing that
a
makes
vanguard of
the...
people that
Ah,
actually
there it is.
know exactly
Right,
what you're
right.
going to do and how you're going to do it.
Right.
Yeah,
So you think then that there's a vanguard of people out there, and they're enough, and they're doing what needs to be done. So you can relax then. The problem's being sorted.
I
don't think that.
No.
Ah.
Like, that vanguard doesn't exist now. Like.
So when's it going to come?
I don't fucking know. I haven't got a crystal ball. I'm not Mr. Pissing Neck. I can't give you date or anything.
Well, I'll give you a prediction of when it's going to come. It's going to have to get a hell of a lot worse, unfortunately. It's going to come when
people are
can't
too
afford to-
comfortable.
When people can't
Okay.
afford... Well, no, when the people are hungry enough. When they can't afford to put food on the table.
Oh, when they're hungry enough.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I suspect that the globalists will keep their bellies full so that they won't get hungry, and keep them entertained enough so they're not going to get that, so that their minds are entertained and their bellies full. So if you're hoping that the people are going to get angry because they're going to get hungry,
That can only happen for so long when you've got unlimited mass immigration. The system.
This might
is
be
going to
why the
break down.
light's
The
flickering.
government isn't going to be able to cover pensions anymore, for example. The system will break down and people will be struggling to put food on the table. It'll be unfortunate, but that's the sort of catalyst that will be required for change. Because as you say, you make half a good point, like that people are at the moment, they've got the Just Eat takeaway or whatever, and they've got the Sky Sports.
I disagree. I think some people are starting to actually pull away from that. Like, if
Yeah.
you look at, for instance,
I
I'm
can't
using
speak
this as
for
an
your average
example.
population.
If you look at the numbers of people who have cancelled their TV license, for instance, it's absolutely massive. The amount of people who have just noped out of TV.
I know.
because
I
they
see it's
know
more.
it's wrong.
I see it's more as
They've got internet. They don't
replacement.
need
Yeah.
TV.
I
They've
see
got
it's more
internet.
Yeah, but the thing is, if we look at depression rates, if we actually
Point
look at
being,
our-
IC3
That's where
is
we are.
getting away
We're on
from
the internet. We're
well,
not
one
on
form
the
of
TV,
programming
are we?
to another
We're
form
on
of
the
programming.
internet. See, this is the problem. They
Well,
gave-
we're
they gave us the
20,
internet.
30 years ahead of everyone else politically. We're way ahead of everyone else politically, aren't we?
Light from this star is
They
very
gave
blue.
us the internet. That was a mistake.
Correct.
They should never have given us the internet.
That's why they're trying to
They've
take it
given us
back, aren't they?
information.
With
that's why it's being
they're trying to take
corporatised.
it back with Alphabet and Facebook and Twitter and centralising everything. That's what social
Do I
media is
wanna do
about.
it
It's about they're retaking they're seizing the means of communication, aren't they?
Yeah.
So what I want to do
Right,
here
like you're
is
trying to
have
seize the
some
means of production.
ray
So they're trying to
receivers.
seize the means of communication, so
Yeah,
that you
that's
can't
what they've
seize the
done.
means of production.
Yeah, because it's an
Correct?
effect. Yeah, because it's an effective strategy. This is the thing, right? You've got class.
It's a
interest.
counter strategy then.
Yeah,
they
because that's
they
effective.
know you're trying to seize the means of production, so therefore they're seizing the means of communication.
Yeah,
so that you cannot-
they know the gig is going to be up. They know the gig is going to be up at some stage. What they're doing cannot carry on forever. They know
Yeah,
this.
it's just damage limitations. They know that they're screwed.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
They
if
should have
you,
another
if,
plan.
if you have to ask, are we sure?
A lot
then
of
you don't
those
have much
with
faith in the
the,
human spirit, my friend.
If they weren't
They're moving
scared, I
to
mean,
places
look
like
what
New
happens to
Zealand
people
to
who
be
are
far
even
away
useless
from
people like Mark
disaster
Collett and the
areas.
people that surround him. Look at TRS. Look what's happening to them. They're scared. They are scared. Otherwise, they wouldn't be. Otherwise, they'd let TRS do a podcast on YouTube.
Right. Okay, so the bottom line, what I'm getting from you, I understand the solution
Oops,
is
come on.
to seize the means of production
Follow the line.
and when the people are angry enough, so therefore you're just waiting for the people to be angry, to get angry enough. There's nothing, and then you're hoping for this vanguard will appear when the people are angry enough. So there's nothing to do then. You just relax until the people are angry enough, and then the vanguard will appear.
It will
and
appear.
sort
Let me
everything
explain
out.
how.
Okay,
Let me explain how,
that's
right?
your solution.
So when you've got anarchy, so let me explain to you. So currently we've got a situation where we've got increasing rates of depression, increasing rates of suicide.
Right, I'll be right
can't
back.
afford to own their own
Problem.
Phil would-
Yeah.
Right, there's loads
Phil
and
will
loads
explain
of
as
problems
well enough.
mounting up.
Yeah.
At some
Problem.
point, people are going to be really fucking pissed
Yeah,
off.
spot on,
When
Nordic.
they're
You
really
hope.
pissed off, they
You
will
get
be
most
pissed off.
flack when
Good
you're over the
reason, right? They've
target.
got a point where it's like if I've got a lion, I can poke a lion for a little bit, but eventually it's going to fucking snap. And when it does snap, like the poll tax, give it for the poll tax riots, when they do snap, they do organise. They naturally organise a hierarchy and a party, and they get shit.
Naturally organised.
What
They
is he
naturally
getting?
organised.
What
Is that
is
what
he
you just
getting at IC3? Because you're using words like hope and weights.
Yeah, because
you imply we should be
I'm
taking
listening
some
to
sort
what
of
you're
action
saying.
now.
I'm listening to what you're saying, and what you're coming across that the way to seize the means of production is that you're hoping that the people will get angry enough. Yes, you're hoping that the people get angry enough, and you have faith that the people will get angry enough.
It's not hope or faith. They will get angry enough. Human beings.
Yeah, we know they will.
Like slavery, you know slavery, right? The slaves at some point. What's the place where they revolted? In the fucking island. Haiti. They got to a point. They got to a point where they fucking snapped. True or false?
Okay. Yes.
And they got to a point and they organised and they fucking revolted. True or false?
Okay. Yeah.
Just like South Africa. Look at South Africa. They're taking their land back. They don't give a fuck that we're there or what they have to do to get rid of us. They will get rid of us and they will take their land back, no matter what. You know, it's
Zimbabwe as well. Zimbabwe, they took the land back from the white farmers.
We're
They
gonna
fucking murdered
we were
everyone.
slaves and shit. We were slaves and shit. That's who we were. We was wage slaves and shit, motherfucker.
That's what it sounds like. Yeah. The white people are going to rebel against these globalist slave owners. You're going to
white people are evil. Like the thing is,
you're going to be just like the black people.
White
We was kings, motherfucker.
If there's something to say about white people, yeah, especially white English people, is that we do have the capability of being really fucking evil. So when we do revolt against these motherfuckers,
right, hold it. Good point. You made a good point. You said especially white English people. Right. So you're moving on to identity. So I suspect that the counter narrative at the moment, because they know what's going to happen if that is allowed to happen. So what they're doing, they're destroying English identity. Therefore, the white English people, they're going to say, well, there's no white English people. Anybody can be English.
Yeah,
right? So you can't
English,
organize under Englishness because they're thinking ahead. They're thinking ahead. They know what you're coming with, and they think, no, we can't let these white English people organize.
No, that
right?
was their plan all along.
We've got to destroy what it means to be English. That's what they're doing.
Yeah,
that's the word white in front of English.
That's part of the English.
But you have to put the white in front of English.
Yeah, but if you think about they're not
destroying English identity was part of the plan all along. That's just the standard plan.
Right.
Well, they're not getting away with it either. There's so much pushback, especially recently. This is why I agree that with Phil that they're getting angrier. They're getting much angrier. Like they're not. I think the statue going down in Bristol might have been one of the last straws for our people. Like, you just can't do that. You can't come through here and start destroying our history and our heritage and our culture.
Well, remember when they tried to take down Baden-Powell, and you just had all, the scoutmasters,
the scouts.
just regular, it was like, somebody's mum turned up, and it was good to see, although. It's not good they're trying to do that, but that's the sort of thing where I hate the term, but normie people are coming out and saying, hey up, you're going too far here. People are.
Okay. Right. So seize the means of production. That's the goal. And what I'm hearing from you all is that
you sound like you're writing a statement, IC3.
Like,
I'm Jason. I'm listening carefully.
Nordic, you get flashbacks. Oh, yeah. You've had conversations like this, haven't you, Nordic?
At the beginning of the conversation, right? I was saying we're examining your line because I'm describing the problem is different. I disagree with your assessment of what the problem is. So now I'm just listening to. Now I understand what you say the problem is, and so therefore I'm now listening to what the solution is, what you think the solution is to the problem that you've described. But I think your solutions are not going to work if your assessment of the problem is incorrect. If your assessment of the problem is incorrect, your solutions are going to crash.
He's right.
What do you think?
If you don't have the problem nailed down, then you're not going to be able to come up with the solution at all.
So the question is, why do you think that we're wrong about the cause of the problems in society?
Right. Because.
Whoa, Phil, your microphone's really loud.
Yeah.
Phil, your laptop's taken off.
Yeah. What I understand you all to be saying from what I've listened to the conversation is that the cause of the problem is the desire of the globalists to make more money. That's because that was the foundation of the conversation. Yeah, they're trying to make money. Therefore, in order to counter that, you've got to seize the means of production. That's what I've heard from you lot. You're saying, it's because they're fundamentally they're trying to make more money. And then you were saying, they're trying to open up McDonald's in Russia, and that marked great success in that they can now make more money with McDonald's in Russia.
Well, no, that's certainly not what I've said. But money is a tool for them to win more and more power.
But the reason I said
getting lots of
the
money.
reason I said the Moscow thing was because the McDonald's branch in Moscow was literally them planting their flag in a conquered land. It's not the start and the end. It's not the start and the end of it. It's merely them indicating it's conquered territory. Was why I brought up the McDonald's flag.
Okay. And so the fundamental, what the points that you're making, or the problem that you see, is the desire for these globalist elitists to make money. So they're trying to make money, and their effort to make money is causing the problem. And I disagree by saying, no, money, the desire is not to make money. The end goal is to set up a world government. And money is the end goal is a homogenized world. So a
homogenized
people, some sort of like coffee Asian people will all live, and every high street will be exactly the same with the same 3 or 4 corporations. So you'll have McDonald's, Starbucks,
Disney, Amazon,
Burger King, etc., on every single high street, and you have a homogenized people, and that's and then profits can be they're regular. They're all exactly the same. They know exactly what they. It's just constant.
Right. So I still disagree, because you're basically saying the same thing as what you've been saying before, but in just different ways. And so we fundamentally disagree on what the problem is. And so I'm exploring the solution.
So you disagree they want to homogenize the world?
Pardon?
So you disagree that they want to homogenize the world?
Yes, I agree with that. Yes, I agree with that. Yeah.
Why though? Why do you think they want to do that?
Because from your point of view, they want to homogenize the world because they can make more money. It's more effective for business. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That's your position. Right.
Yes,
Well, I completely disagree with that. I'm saying that they want to homogenize the world so
it's
that
not
they
to
can
make more money.
It more effectively.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, it's
I agree with that as well.
Big difference.
No, it's both big difference.
No, there isn't.
Well, and that does say
because when everything's exactly the same, there's no need. There's no need to rule it, because there won't be conflict.
Okay.
Well, those that they do rule over, of course, they see as human cattle. They do see themselves as God-chosen people, don't they? And the rest of us as human cattle.
It's about production. It's about how they. It's about what you value ultimately. So
I'm going to get off. I'm going to get off for the evening. I'm going to get a couple of hours sleep before the boxing comes on. So it's been good talk to people.
See you later, Toppy.
Cheers for coming on, mate.
Right, so I believe, so this is what it is, right? You're kind of right with what you say, right? So the people at the top of the hierarchy, it's not just about making money, it's about organising society in their own self-interests. What you need to remember is that under capitalism, it allows individuals to pursue their own self-interest. Because they make a lot of money off this, they're at the top of the hierarchy, they want to manage society in their own interests.
Well, actually, it's even more insidious than that, Phil, because it's what they think are their best interests.
Yeah. It's what they think are in their best interest. It isn't actually a moral interest or what is good, or it's just about greed. It's what's good for them, what they believe is good for them as individuals.
It's what the particular
whenever he
shouts,
it distorts his microphone.
Is their best interest, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hi, Ray. This is just me listening back to the thing of last night and doing my commentary.
People with ethnic identities tend to value.
Was playing a bit of computer
games. They
games.
can notice things more often. Like if you're a white person and they start bringing in black immigrants, that's pretty bloody obvious. And then you can say, hold on a minute, you're trying to bring the wages down, etc., etc. They just want an easily manageable society where it keeps them at the top of the hierarchy and the resources.
Let me try restarting the game. See if this will. I think it's
to them in a way where they can gain more from it. It's about making society work in their
I think there's a
interest.
bug in my game.
That's what capitalism does. It's not just about money. It's about distribution of resources and services so that they can get the shit and we don't get the shit. It's about survival of the fittest ultimately, and they've just created a system.
Well, at the end of the day, they want the whole world working for 20p an hour, so they can make more money.
Yeah, they can make more money and they get more of the resources and more of the commodities and more power and an easier life, and their genetics can pass on, etc., etc. They can have a comfortable existence. They just want a comfortable existence.
So what if there's to say to you, we're doing this for the good of humanity. We're not thinking like the way you're thinking. The way you view us, we feel most upset.
Oh yeah,
you think that we would be so selfish. We're working for the good of humanity, and that includes ourselves.
Yeah, because they think we're too stupid to govern ourselves, and by and large, they're mostly right. But I don't think they're going to be any better at managing us than if we were left to our own devices.
The sciences or any shit like that. Like, objectively, when we've collectivized, human beings have done more.
Got to check on the cooking.
They like when you leave it to the free market or the self-interests. What's profitable isn't necessarily what's good for humanity. Like an example would be, here's a commodity that's really profitable. Pornography. Pornography is really, really profitable, but it's not good for humanity, is it? To be masturbating all day or looking at anime or buying fucking dragon dildos or whatever. That's all Panten Pro V or shit like that. That's not good for humanity. It's just good for them as individuals so that they can make more money. The problem with capitalism is that, generally speaking, it rewards what's profitable, not what makes human beings successful. It just makes them successful.
Yeah, but what if they're to say that capitalism is not the ism? Is not the ism that
and it's still flickering.
That's not the ism that we follow.
So if I go to the menu,
that's the ism you imagine that we follow.
No,
this is flickering as well.
You follow like private property rights.
Well, if I go to another star system.
So capitalism, private property rights.
My user interface is flickering as well.
So you're against private property rights, correct?
Yeah.
Right.
Let's just say I want to go. Oh, I don't know. Where's the nearest star?
People having their own private property.
That one?
That's part of the problem.
Well, you're
against
light
necessary
years,
to seize the means of production, correct?
Yeah. Not necessarily, because I think I know where you're going with this. Like we want to destroy the private corporations from having the means of production.
We look at history and sort of lessons that anti-democratic revolution won't occur in a democratic nation.
If
fascists will get its liberals and
affect the nation, then the government can veto it. I think is probably the best way of clearing this one up.
I'd need to see some examples.
We don't want to take sort of like the businesses' house away from them.
I don't want to
wait a minute, that's private property.
Well,
are you saying? Wait a minute. Are you saying that the most effective way to seize the means of production, or part of that?
I had this point right. So let me just get to this point here in Mincar. Let's have a look at this Mincar system. That land on the first planet from the star. And when I do that, so this is the thing of ownership and private property. So, if I'm right in what Phil told me, socialism is where the workers own the means of production. So, like, you got a factory. Let's say you got a factory that makes nuts and bolts. So, you know, you buy the material that comes in, the steel, and then you turn the steel into a finished product, and you got tools, and the tools, well, you're making nuts and bolts, but you don't make the tools in the factory, so you've bought them from somewhere else as well. But you own the factory, and you pay for its upkeep, you pay for, like, the wages and all that stuff, and it's all paid from the profit that you're making and selling these nuts and bolts. So, if you got... So you got this community owned thing. I suppose you could use John Lewis as an example, because how does that work? But the way it seems to me is that, like, so you got someone new that comes in, and they're not a stakeholder because they've not bought this factory. They don't own it. So how is it they're going to be like, well, okay, I want to work in your factory and I want a share of the profits, right? But what's your stake? You haven't got a stake in this. We're all stakeholders in this factory. We work here producing a profit, and you just want to come in, work, use our tools, use our capital for your profit. It's like, well, you've got to buy in with a stake then. Okay, how do you do that? You got to have some capital. So, I mean, there is a Sunday show tonight. It's at 7 o'clock, and hopefully Phil will be on, because I think it's like personal property and private property, and also like how do you have like a collective owned organisation, and maybe look a bit into John Lewis, because isn't that like a collective owned, isn't it like the workers own the thing? So maybe look at Nationwide and other building societies as well.
Process is to destroy private property rights.
Yeah,
yes
replace
or no?
Yes, replace it with
Do
something
I
else.
want
Replace it with
to do that? No, I don't. So what are
Yeah.
we doing on this world?
National property rights.
Yes.
Yeah, British people have British people that have worked and lived in this country that are English and are British by genetics. They have every right to buy their house.
Toothbrush
if they want
confiscation
Let me explain
squads.
what I mean by national property
What
rights.
no, how do you mean by their house? If you're going to destroy private property rights, then the house should belong to the council.
If they've built that.
Oh yeah, and here's an idea I had last night, which I thought to myself, okay, so if I was like, okay, Hobbit, you're in charge of economics, you got to make some like pro-nationalist economic policies. I'd be like, all right, very simple. You want a stake in this nation. You want to enter a two-way contract with the nation. I would make it so that you can lease 99-year lease of land from the government. I believe 99-year leases that happen. They call it a freehold, and on that lease of land, you can do what you like to it. I mean, obviously, if you're doing something like, yeah, I'm going to build an oil refinery on my land, it's like, but now there's like toxic fumes and it's affecting your neighbours, then maybe you won't be able to do that. But if you want to build a house and you want to build your house and make it look like a thatched chicken, or you want to build a house and you want to use pink terracotta tiles, or you want to build a house and make it look like like a Watland door building from the 10th century, you should be able to do whatever you want. And it's a 99-year lease. So the 99-year lease comes up for sale. And I say it's a nominal fee. In today's figures, I would say that nominal fee is £1. So, like 500 years from now, when inflation's like made a mockery of currency, it's still making £1. The idea that it's like, we understand that if you're buying a lease of land for £1 for 99 years, you're paying an infinitesimal amount of, literally a notional amount of money. And who can buy this? You can't just like say, well, my mate here, John, he's not part of my family. Can he have it? No, he's not part of your family. But if you've got like a son or a nephew or a grandson or a cousin or something, and they're saying, you know what, I'm going to put the lease in there, and it's like, okay, yep, same family, second cousins, things like that, maybe not so much. But if it's your immediate family, your first cousins, that's all right. That's okay. And they'd be like, okay, yeah, I'm the great grandson of Mr. John Smith who bought this lease. I've got the title here. He gave it to me as well. Here's £1. All right, it's yours, and you can do with the land as you see fit. And then it's like it's your land. So I mean that's one of the things I would do, to have like, this is a way like to get people vested interest in it. It's like, this is your land, and yeah, sure, there'll be taxes, and you've opened your door tax, you've stepped in your car tax, you've put food in your refrigerator tax. Yeah, sure, we'll have all the taxes. We'll have so many taxes you won't need. You'll be tired of all the taxes, and new taxes come in. But the one for owning your land, £1, 99-year lease. If you ain't family, you can't have it. So all the land belongs to the government, and then you become its custodian, I suppose. Yeah, that makes sense.
The house should belong to the government.
So then, how does in this organisation where the government's just doling out parcels of land for £1, does that mean like you can have a parcel of land in the city of London for £1? Yeah, but it might just be that parcel of land is 1 square inch. I could just imagine somebody putting up a bollard. They've got like a 3 square inches and they put up a bollard in the middle of the road. It's like, well, that's my land and I got a 99-year lease. No, because you see, that's harming the nation. People can't use that road because you put up a bollard there. So how do you do stuff like an oil refinery and things? Well, then you could just say, well, this land is owned by the government. We're not going to give those leases to anybody because we want to build an oil refinery here, or we're going to build a motorway. So these parcel of lands, we're not going to award these leases to anybody because they might build a house on it, and nobody wants a house in the middle of a motorway or right next to an oil refinery.
Government.
If they built that house themselves, then that is theirs. They own it if they've built it themselves.
This is why I'm going on about this 99-year lease, because Nordic says if you've built the house, so what if you build the house and you've got like government contractors? Like, here's the government building force, Balfour Beatty. It's like, yeah, we do roads and we also build brick houses. You got like I can't think of a company that builds homes, but essentially they are government workers. They got government contracts and government permission to build houses. So they've built the house for you. Yeah, it's your house. You live in it. You paid for it. But is that your house because like the government does it, and then you've got government bricks made in the government brick kiln facility? No, that's why I'm saying that the way it should be your house is you have a 99-year lease. And then, yeah, sure, you can contract the government to build a house. You can contract anybody to build it. Well, I really think this 99-year lease is the way it's got to be. And this lease can only be passed down through the family.
Yeah, but you're trying to destroy private property rights.
But if they then want to sell that house to someone who's Chinese, then the government will say...
No, you can't do it. You could put it up for an auction. That's a good point. So in my system, you couldn't sell to a Chinese. So what would you do? Well, the thing is that really what that means is because now like property is seen as a major investment because look, loads of money to be made in property. Yeah, and I don't think that's a good system. I don't think that's right. I don't think it's healthy, and I think it stops people from having property. If you have leases, so like your family can live on this parcel of land for 99 years. And then if you want to continue living after 99 years, your descendants got to pay us £1. That's all right. And the thing is, like, well, you can't sell that parcel of land. You can give it back to the government, which will give you nothing for it because they've just given you a lease for 99 years. So you can't sell to like some rich Saudi or Chinese businessman because it's like, well, they can't live. They could live there as a guest. You could say, I've built like a shed in the back of my garden. You know, the wealthy Sheikh Abu Hamza can live in my shed because that's a contract we got. He pays me £100 a month to live in my shed, and I've agreed to that. Yeah, sure, that's fine. But he can't own the house. He can't own the land because he's not family. And that's, I think, would be a good nationalistic policy, because in which case what you do is like, if you don't have some ancestral state to the land, you can't do it. I mean, that's what they do in India. You can't even buy a tin shack there unless you've got Indian ancestry.
They know you're not doing that.
Correct. That's not allowed. It's national property rights, not private property rights. Because
you can own your own property. So you can own your own property as long as it doesn't interfere with what's best for the nation.
Yeah, that's what I'm agreeing with. That's what I'm trying to advocate.
Do you get that?
Right. Oh, so national property rights.
Let me give you an example.
So destroy private property rights, but maintain.
It would still be private property rights, but if those private property rights bump up against the national interest, then those private property rights are vetoed.
Yeah.
An example would be, let's say I've got a business and I'm selling fucking, I don't know, anti-English sentiment stuff. So it's like
vacuum cleaners.
Yeah, so I don't know, let's say I've got a T-shirt that says "Fuck England, English people are fucking dickheads, and I hope they all die." Then I believe the state should come in and say, "Fuck you, you're not doing that anymore. This factory belongs to the people of England. Someone else will have it."
Well, if you can be shown to be acting in bad
To
faith.
start a pro-English, say, business.
Oh, hang on, this isn't going to work. That'll only go one.
Well, generally speaking, you as a company, you can earn some profit, generally speaking, but it's only if it doesn't exploit anyone or it doesn't exploit the English people. If it exploits the English people or causes destruction or moral harm or anything
Got
like
to check on the cooking.
James Dyson moving his headquarters to James Dyson moving his headquarters to is it Thailand? Is it?
Yeah, I believe all of his assets should be stripped.
Yeah,
right. Okay.
Should be in prison. To be fair, should be put in prison for that. Should be put in prison. Banned from moving abroad. So you're not allowed to move abroad. That's illegal.
See, the thing is, some people are mainly the left liberals. They think that the world is a fair place and that everything needs to be fair. It's only fair to let them carry on doing this, but we don't live in a fair world. If you look at the animal kingdom, there's no fairness there, and there's no fairness in the human nature either. I don't care about what's fair.
It's not fair what happened to James Fields, is it?
What I care about.
There's no fairness in there, is there?
Exactly. I don't care about fairness. What I care about is what's in the best interests of my people. Just like IC3 probably cares about what's in the best interests of his people.
Right. That's good. Yeah, I think we all agree on that because we're all nationalists here.
Yeah.
But what we're battling over is what is the most effective form of nationalism that can counter the globalist power. So we're debating nationalism and how to make it work.
Well, I think it's national socialism. I think it's national racial interests with a socialist economic system.
Correct.
National councilism, Ian, eh?
National council comes out.
Think all the Sunday leagues.
National localism.
National localism.
Right. Well, national socialism has been tried. It didn't work.
No, it hasn't.
No, it hasn't.
It hasn't.
No, it hasn't. Like Hitler's Germany wasn't socialist; it was capitalist.
Yeah.
Was.
Hitler wasn't a socialist. He was a national capitalist.
National capitalist.
Yeah, he was. He believed in a free market. He just had some sort of welfare thing implementations in place.
But what you're saying is national capitalism.
No, it fucking isn't.
That's what you're saying now.
No, I'm not.
No?
I believe in collective ownership of the means of production. Do you understand what I said there? What I mean is
collective ownership of the means of production.
Right,
so that means
so what you need to do
would all be nationalised, correct? The trains would be nationalised, the factories would be nationalised.
Yeah.
Okay. So is that correct? Is my understanding correct?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, actually, it's a bit of a sliding scale. Like, ideally, I think it would be good if England was a worker state, where everything was nationalised and we all worked in the national interest of England. But I understand pragmatically that's not something you can do straight away. There has to be a sliding scale.
Like a worker co-op.
Yeah, like worker co-ops, where, instead of having like a boss who earns lots of money by exploiting his workers, the workers collectively own the factory and then share the profits amongst themselves. That would be the ideal situation. That's the ideal that I think would be good for England.
Right. So moving in that direction, with the state owning the means of production, once you go along that path, then you want the state owning everything.
It's not the state; it's the English people that own everything. Like the state is made up of people. It'd be the English people who collectively own England.
Yeah, but when I say the state, I mean I'm saying let's talk about England then. So when I say the state, I mean an English state, right, would own all the means of production that the English people possess. Yes, and then an English state would, following along in that line, would also own all the English property in order to preserve it.
Yeah, for the interest of the English people, yeah.
Right. Okay.
But like we said, if you build your house, if you yourself go out and build your house, that's yours,
right.
mate. But you can't sell it to foreign interests.
No.
Wait a minute. To say that that's yours, but you can't do this. I mean, it's.
Well,
Yeah, well,
you
there's a point.
already live in that
morality.
society, IC3. You can't
Pardon?
you already live in a society like that, because you can't just build an extension on your house. You have to ask the government's permission anyway.
Yeah,
Right.
you need planning permission, or they'll shut you down.
Yeah. So
I know a guy who
you're
actually
already living in that society. It's just
allowed
it would be tweaked in the nation's favour rather than whatever backhander your local councillor's taking.
Okay. Right. Okay. So I understand the picture now. So we talk about England and this model for England, and so the English would need to seize the means of production in order to establish that new kind of England, and that would include. Is the Bank of England run by the English?
No.
Partly, I wouldn't say no.
It's not operating in the English people's interest, though. It's operating in whoever runs the fucking Bank of England. It operates in the class interest of really.
Right. So the Bank of England is not English.
Not really. It doesn't. It is run by
Yes or
English
no?
people. No.
It was.
No, it doesn't run in the interest of the English people. It runs in the interest of the international community.
So it
Yeah,
can't be
because
English
we've got artificially low interest rates, which means British savers aren't getting any money for it. And there's even talk of negative interest rates. So the Bank of England isn't.
Right, the Bank of England's not being run by the English people. So the English people need their own Bank of England, then, correct?
Yeah. We'll have to take.
Well, just take control of they'd just take control of the Bank of England, wouldn't they?
Okay. So earlier on you were saying, "Oh, this is all easy." So you think it's easy for the English people to take control of the Bank of England? Yeah.
Well, anything's easy once you hold the reins of power.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
right. So how are the English people going to? How are the English people? Is it easy for the English people to hold the reins of power in England?
No, it's not going to be. Well, we all know it's not going to be. It's not going to be it's not going to be a walk in the park, is it?
It's not. Okay. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I'd agree.
You all agree, right? It's not easy then.
I'd agree that.
I think it was Phil. Phil was saying that it's easy.
Well, I think getting into the positions of power to be able to make the easy stuff happen will be difficult. It's not going to be easy. But once you've done that, once you've built the Vanguard, once the Vanguard knows what to do, then it's easy.
Built the Vanguard.
Well, you have to build it.
Earlier on, we were saying you were all saying that when the people are angry enough, this Vanguard will appear. Yeah, you're talking about building this Vanguard.
I didn't say that.
It's not. You're gonna have to prune the Vanguard. You can't just let anybody that rises up in the ranks to seize the power. They've got to be doing it for the right reasons in the right way, haven't they? So it has to be built to an extent, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Right. And the building of this Vanguard is going to be built by the people who have got angry enough to want to build it.
Yeah.
So you're saying anger comes first. Get the people angry enough, and then when they're angry, they're going to start building.
I'm not going to give you the intricacies how to run the Bank of.
No, I'm not asking for the intricacies.
It's fucking insane. It's like, well, are you going to run the Bank of England? It's like, okay, and do you want a 24-hour fucking live stream where it's talking about how we're going to fucking manage the Bank of England? It's not going to happen, man. The fuck?
Okay, I'm back in the thing now.
Yeah, so my angle, what I'm saying,
that is some good spag bol.
your plans or your overall viewpoint, don't need details, but the overall viewpoint is still based on the idea, the fundamental idea that the people that you're up against,
well, it's
all they're trying
we've
to
got
do
we've got
is
the
make
plan
enough
ICP.
money.
ICP. I've got the plan ICP.
Insane clown bossy.
It's get angry, question mark, National Socialism. And it felt...
Well,
okay.
let me use a history lesson for you guys. If we go back to the Bolshevik Revolution, when the Bolsheviks took over Russia and they overthrew the Tsars. Well, the vanguard that they used, they picked very carefully. They picked people who were strong in ideology and were somewhat physically weak, because when the hard stuff was over and done with, there were certain people that had to disappear, that couldn't be in positions of authority.
Retire, I believe, is the phrase you're looking for, not it?
That's the one. That's the one.
Sounds a lot like Antifa today.
So it's not necessarily just make them angry and use any old motherfucker. It's you have to pick very, very carefully who these people are. They have to be ideological, and to some degree, they have to be non-agreeable, very non-agreeable. It's so hard to say what needs to be done, because while they've given us the internet so that we can talk about these things, they also have the internet and social media, so they have what we say in print.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to give you like the general point is to seize the means of production. This will happen. How this will happen is that capitalism is necessarily failing in a lot of ways. Like we've said, a lot of young people can't afford their own homes. Wages will decrease. The quality of life of people is, rapidly declining. People disagree with the culture that's been enforced on them. They disagree with the economic conditions that have been forced on them. We're going to have automation that's coming into the country, and increasingly, a lot of people in England are going to be losing their jobs. Automation is going to come in. A lot of the working class.
I used to really dislike the robot tills, because every time I use one of those, somebody doesn't have a job.
So when this happens,
but now I find myself using them more and more, because robot tills don't say, "Have you got a mask? Do you want a mask?"
Status quo, the current political ideology, and one natural solution.
Until they put facial recognition cameras in the robot tills, and they'd be like, "You're not wearing a mask. I refuse to serve you."
That is more socialist.
Or refuse to, the scanner doesn't turn on until you've got a mask on.
How this party is formed is another question. Currently, I don't believe that this party exists. It's either I don't know whether it's going to naturally form or who's going to form it. But I do believe that it will form, because I don't believe that people are going to tolerate this. If they do tolerate, it's possible that they just tolerate it. We're just that weak that we'll just tolerate it, and we'll just die out, and then they'll just keep it.
Well, I do believe that the big game changer is the television. That is something that.
Note to self: play Yuri Bezmenov's speech on demoralization. You can present people with the facts and reality and show them a better way of thinking, but if they're demoralized, they just be like, "Yeah, I don't care, mate."
The Bolsheviks and 1930s Germany, they never had to deal with the hypnotizing influence of the TV.
Yeah. Well, I always, people argue
so
with
my
me
good friend
about
Fremon on
MK
Sand
Ultra,
talks about
and
Joseph Goebbels
liking Walt
Disney's propaganda
success,
films,
because most people have
and
the result of MK Ultra in their front room. It's called a television.
Yeah. And admittedly, the material conditions of the Bolshevik Revolution and in Germany were a lot worse. They were a lot worse than we're dealing with. So.
Well, you've seen the state of people who think they're starving right now, haven't you?
Yeah, they're not starving.
What, 20 stone fucking Kathy and her 5 fat kids that think they're all starving? Yeah.
So it's got to get really, really fucking bad before something will happen. Until it gets really, really fucking bad, nothing will happen. You're right in the sense, I say, if people are comfortable, they won't do fuck all. That's true. If people are comfortable, they won't revolt. They'll just go along with it.
Well, that's why they've been making us comfortable. That's why they've been giving us these Kumis and these McDonald's.
Why I believe weed's getting stronger.
Yeah, yeah, I do. I agree.
That's just the free market, bruv.
Well, they'll bring the legalization to weed here.
Oh shit! Where did you?
Cannabis and the hybridization of it. That is actually a strong argument for free market, because there's no regulation on growing of cannabis up until very, very recently. So I know now there's medical strains and THC free strains, CBD buds, and those are regulated. But they don't call them cannabis. I think they call them hemp to differentiate between it. Speaking of which, my muscles still hurt, so I'm going to have some cannabidiol now. Let's see if I've got some ganja drops. Carry on.
Where did you send it, Voodoo? Voodoo, you'll have to send it me again. Where did you send it me anyway? Which platform?
I'd see the elites just try and make us more comfortable as possible. We're not going to starve, as you all said.
I don't have my Holland and Barrett cannabis drops.
You're hoping people will get angry, and you're hoping they'll get hungry.
Oh yeah,
and
it's
start
good.
to starve, and then that will make them really hungry, and that will work. So therefore, the counter.
At least the flickering's not happening here.
Keep food. Just keep people's belly full.
Yep,
and
no flickering here.
This anger.
So it is the Dyson
that you're
sphere.
hoping will come in the future. That's their counter. Bread and
yeah,
circuses.
but I don't see. They can think that if they want to. I don't think Tsar Nicholas thought that what was going to happen to Russia happened. They went into a war. These things happen, and they can happen on the spur of the moment. And quite often, it's these wars that actually show your leader's true nature. That's why during the First World War, that's when the Bolshevik Revolution happened. It was during a war because they were at their most pressed. Before that, before the First World War, nobody really looked at Tsar Nicholas and saw what a ruin he was turning the country into, because he gave them all Kumis. Once the Kumis disappeared, because there's a real situation. See, that's what people don't think about.
So what you're saying then, if I understand what you're saying correctly, if these globalists can create a war shortly, a big, great war.
My understanding of the royals in Russia is that they were out of touch with the public. And you could even argue that Tsar Nicholas was doing some... was actually doing things which would have improved a lot of life for the average Russian peasant.
That doesn't always
but it was too little, too late.
It doesn't always work like that. They may start the war, but they might not win it.
And then the usual suspects who are always dissatisfied with society and always looking to foment revolution, well, they are that way.
The war could end up in your favour, and
well, that's what they do.
There could be a rise in national socialism. If a war is started and the people are angry because of the war.
Not just a war.
A nuclear war.
Well,
gay bar.
Let's look at the last time something resembling National Socialism actually existed in power, which would be National Socialist Germany in the 1930s.
Or Franco's Phalangist Spain right up until the 1980s.
Because everyone was so disenfranchised from the Weimar Republic.
Well, it wasn't only that, it was the Treaty of Versailles as well, though, wasn't it?
Exactly.
That was the other reason they were absolutely fucking skint, weren't they?
That's what I'm getting to.
Yeah.
It was the Treaty of Versailles after the First World War, which absolutely brutally punished Germany. That's what done it for them. See, it's not just the war. It's what these things, what breeds out of them. You see.
Right. So war management is crucial. war
But
management.
I think it's just a cataclysmic event. I mean, who knows what can hit or
Well,
what can
massive
happen.
societal change. War is just the example I used. Society doesn't stay the same during a massive war, does it? Everything changes.
Right.
The First World War was one of the things that started getting women out of the home and into the workforce, because they're like, oh, we need women in the munitions factories, all the men are dying on the front lines.
If that war or chaos,
and it was always understood that women did work.
planned,
It's not that women were just like, no, can't do any work, I'm a woman. They just did their work at home. They would do sewing they do other
they've already
things.
planned for what,
Women have always worked.
Of the outcome. So after the war, we're planning for this to take place. So whoever's planning the war is planning for what's going to happen after the war. Whilst if you just end up in a war that somebody else has planned, with the hope that you can use the situation to bring about change.
Oh, so it's a long day-night cycle, right, okay.
Neutralize the globalists.
Well, did the Bolsheviks wait until the end of the war before they took over?
I suspect the Bolsheviks, because have you read this book?
What is it?
Have you read this one?
I don't think so. No, it's got a big old Star of David, so I've probably not read it.
That's kryptonite Nordic.
Yeah, this is by Douglas Reed. He's an Englishman. Yeah. And he's talking about.
Oh, curiosity. Does
Bolsheviks,
this is just the chat. Chris Eubank, does he dresses up as an English gentleman? Does he consider himself an Englishman? Or is it like, this is a role I wish to play because this is what I see as desirable?
Yeah, that's right. So he's saying,
It always makes me laugh when for years I thought the sport of boxing was called cutilism, because I only ever heard Chris Eubank pronounce it as cutilism when it's about pugilism. But I imagine he hates Fabergé.
You've got against pretty princesses, Phil, for fuck's sake.
I think even Phil turns his nose up at Kinder eggs.
Everyone was dead happy, and he definitely
Fill up pure shit, just love pretty Russian princesses.
Britain princesses were murdered.
Yeah, everything was amazing. The peasants
Yes,
weren't oppressed.
yes, it
or anything.
was.
People were living in mansions.
Exactly.
And then, out of nowhere, the Bolsheviks came and just murdered them
Boo.
for no reason.
I hate the
whatsoever.
Bolsheviks.
It just happened
Well, they
out of
get
nowhere.
slaughtered during the war, weren't they? They were getting absolutely hammered by the Germans.
It's like, oh, out of fucking nowhere, these Bolsheviks came. Just out of fucking nowhere. Like, give me a fucking break.
Well, it's like they're in the middle of a war, and what does Tsar Nicholas decide to do? He decides to bring all of his family on a little holiday to England, for fuck's sake.
Well, yeah, he's seeing the
people were-
relatives.
Like, the thing is, what you need to remember, IC3, is that, yeah, the Bolsheviks were financed by certain people, just like everyone's financed by someone. Hitler was financed.
But who are these people? You see, so this is an Englishman. Is telling you that it's a Zionist, whoever they are.
It's a Zionist thing.
Yeah, but that's from the angle of everything's the
If it ain't
Jews,
from
man. Don't
a
look
chicken's
at
bum,
everything else,
then
it's just
Phil
the super
doesn't want
Jews.
that egg.
Capitalism is funded by fucking Jews. Right, the thing is that capitalism is funded by Jews, you fucking mad bastard.
Hitler was funded by Jews.
Right. So that's what Douglas Reed, that Englishman, that's what he's saying. But he's saying it's not just simple to say it's just Jews. No, it's an ism that uses Judaism and combine it with something else.
Globalism.
So you can't just say Jews. It's not the Jews. It's another ism. It's another entity.
Okay, do you want me to
It's another ism.
Right,
It's a combination.
Let me explain this, okay? So,
You know, David Icke was trying to skirt around this issue years ago, and he just says, look, I'm saying it's the archontic, mind-controlling reptilians which have managed to enslave humanity. And it just happens to be that certain ethnicities and demographics have got more archontic mind control than others. And people accused him of anti-Semitism for this, but he's just saying that, look, some people are more possessed by these archons. I'd say that's demon possession, but he wants to call it archons because he was using, like, he's very keen to get away from Christian language, I suppose, and use archons. Whatever, I understand it as demon possession.
Right, this is what happened with the Bolsheviks, okay? So the reason why the Bolsheviks were funded by Jews, a lot of Jews were in the Bolsheviks, is because, fucking hell, it's going to take ages, but essentially, at the beginning, the forming of the Soviet Union, right, they did allow, like, a safe area of the Soviet Union to be a safe haven for Jews.
Jewish
right?
Autonomous Oblast.
Right? And, you know, Jews lived happily or whatever in,
they
in
did,
that area.
That's why they fled to Israel.
Oh, Phil, you're not doing isms again. You're so fucking boring.
Fucking hell, yeah. Right, but anyway, so obviously the Jews weren't doing it because they cared about the Russian people. They were doing it because
Can I actually, whilst Phil's carrying on, let me see if I can find up Jewish Autonomous Oblast. I need to show you this on the map.
Wasn't the first dog in space left in space by the Russians, Phil?
Well, yeah.
And a few cosmonauts.
Well, we left plenty of creatures in space when we were testing it. You just don't hear about it.
That word. Hey, hold on, Nordic. Are you from a different country to the rest of us? Are you from a certain country in the Middle East? Because they left a lot of creatures on the moon.
Well, the point is though.
Right, I've got the image now,
yeah, the
so
did have to work with,
let's have an image. Okay, and the image. Choose it in. It's in pictures.
You don't get funding from anywhere. You're not going to magically get money from fucking nowhere. So you do have to cock
Russian
a little
regions. Here we go.
You know, check your DMs. I've just uploaded that video to you.
A little bit. There's trouble.
All right, so
told you.
So if you look here.
Money is no good.
So you see that bit there, just south of Khabarovsky and Plimovsky and Amur, Jewish Autonomous Oblast. It's like they put them there. They said, look, if you go there in an autonomous, you're responsible for yourself. That's why it's autonomous. It's not directly controlled by the state.
Stalin would have kept the pretty princesses and the
the idea behind that was. Just go there, stop being bothered to everybody else, because otherwise there's going to be problems.
You need to read this Englishman.
Wait.
You need to read this Englishman.
Hang on.
Englishman. It's another ism. It's another entity.
Yeah. We've been through that bit. Yeah.
It's another ism.
Right, let me
go faster.
Let me explain this.
Faster, please. Faster.
Right, this is what happened with the Bolsheviks, okay? So the reason why the Bolsheviks were funded by the is because essentially, they get the forming of the Soviet Union, right? They did allow, like, a safe area of the Soviet Union to be safe haven for Jews, that's what they intended, right? And, you know, Jews lived happily or whatever in that area. Later on, Stalin dealt with them.
Oh, Phil, you're not doing isms again. You're so fucking boring.
Fucking hell, yeah. Right, but anyway. So obviously the Jews weren't doing it because they cared about the Russian people. They were doing it because they wanted an area of Russia to be their own land, and they got that area.
Yeah.
Right, but you know, ultimately it was for the greater good of the Soviet people that the Bolsheviks took over, because under the Tsarist regime it was fucking terrible.
Wasn't the first dog in space left in space by the Russians, Phil?
I'm pressing X to doubt on that one. I mean, I think the Russians went out the frying pan into the fire.
We left plenty of creatures in space when we were testing it. You just don't hear about it.
That word. Hey, hold on, Nordic. Are you from a different country to the rest
of
us?
I know. Oh, the calorific value increased under the. It's like, how much are those calories from vodka? I mean, life expectancy in 1990s Russia was worse than some African countries. That's not a good metric. That to me does not sound like a successful Soviet experiment.
You've got to get funding from somewhere. If you don't get funding from anywhere, you're just going to magically get money from fucking nowhere. So you do have to cook a little bit into something.
Hey, now check your DMs.
Well,
I've just
you
uploaded
do
that
manage
video.
to get money from
little bits.
nowhere. That's the whole point of
trouble.
modern monetary
Told
theory,
you.
Keynesian
This
economics.
basis of money is
The
no
fiat
good.
currency is money from nowhere.
Oh, dear.
Hold on a minute. Yeah,
The-
Lenin was a bit of a cock, yeah. But let's look at how Stalin
Where's the bit
dealt with
where
fucking-
Freeman on the
English.
Sand was saying something interesting? I wanted to pause on that bit.
And how did he treat the fucking Jews? He tried to fucking exterminate them and fuck them up. Yeah.
Stalin would have kept the pretty princesses and the Fabergé eggs.
Yeah, you would have, yeah. Yeah, but the point is, yeah, the Jews had a foothold over the fucking Soviet people for a little bit, but then if
You need
stop
to read
putting
this
that up-
Englishman.
Maybe a bit
No, I
longer.
don't need to read some bullshit.
You need to read this
Bad
Englishman.
Wait,
If
hang on,
Lenin-
hang on, hang on. Did I just go past it? Am I a klutz? Can I 2142? This
Political ideology of any political revolution or whatever. You've got to get funding from somewhere. Yeah.
it just sort of
You've gotta
flashed
get
up for a
funding
split
from
sec.
somewhere. You don't get
Okay,
funding from
instead of
anywhere.
paying
You're
attention
just
to the game, I'm going to
magically
look
get
at
money
this
from
now.
fucking
I'm
nowhere.
looking at this
So you
now.
do have to cock a little bit into something.
Hey, now check your DMs. I've just uploaded that video to you.
A little bit. There's trouble. Told you.
Well, there is
This
trouble.
basis of
Wait,
money is no
wait,
good.
Wait a second. Because Stalin
Oh,
dealt
dear.
with them. Now, hold on a minute. Yeah, Lenin was a bit of a cock, yeah. But let's look at how Stalin dealt with the fucking. Just listen.
Poor English.
Comrade fucking Stalin came in, and how did he treat the fucking Jews? He tried to fucking exterminate them and fuck them up. Yeah.
Stalin would have kept the pretty princesses and the Fabergé eggs.
Yeah, he would have, yeah. Yeah, but the point is, yeah, the Jews had a fucking.
Actually, there is a phenomenon known as Christian something or other. Hang on. It's in the chat replay as well, so can I... Mini player. Oh no, that's... Oh, crap. There's an over... Oh, the Christian Zionists and British Israelites. Oh, okay. Yeah, so, like, there's Christian Zionists who, like, want Zionism, but they're not Jewish. And then there's British Israelites who believe that the British race are one of the lost tribes of Israel. And one of the pieces of evidence they cite in that is just look at Welsh people. They look like Levantine, Phoenician types. So there we go.
You need to read this Englishman.
No, I don't need to read some bullshit.
You need to read this Englishman.
If Lenin had got his way, then the Jews would have carried on naturally and taken over Russia very quickly. But Stalin
I'm
took
going to have a
over.
factory on this
Stalin
planet
took over and
making
corrected all the problems.
some things I know.
Well, that's why Lenin didn't want him. Lenin didn't want Stalin to take over because Lenin knew that Stalin would undo all of his work. And that's
Yeah,
what Trotsky
Stalin
tried
was
to
a
do.
nationalist,
Trotsky
Lenin was a
tried to undo
globalist.
it all as well, and that's why he got ice picked.
Yes, exactly.
Right, I'm going to
Exactly.
end it now because it's nearly 3 hours. I'm tired, man. Yeah, so thank you all coming on, mate, especially you,
Thanks.
IC3.
Thank you. It's been
Yeah,
enjoyable.
it's been a good.
You
So
always
I
bring
need...
the good, interesting conversations up. Yeah, I'm gonna play a few videos. I just saw that video and fucking me.
That's good, isn't it?
Buddha, you're a fucking legend, mate. So yeah, I'm
My
gonna.
my brain hurts, mate.
It's downloaded. I think it's downloaded now. I can share it. Video file.
You can
people
play
like
out
to
with it.
view-
Who's eating
yeah.
crisps?
Where is it? There we go.
It's time for WWE
Oh,
Slam.
this is good. Nan Slam. Nan Slam. Nan Slam. Nan Slam.
ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this packed out arena for WWE Nan Slam.
I don't think these superstars have any intention of taking it easy on each other tonight. That makes two of us, King.
You're certainly right, King. And I gotta say, we've got an astronomical debate tonight.
I don't think Portland's gonna know what hit it after tonight. I've never seen a crowd so fired up, JR.
Well, JR, this is the most important debate of 2021.
I can already tell this is going to be a great match. You got to have
I'm
some
hyped for
excellent
it.
conditioning.
I don't know what it's going to be about, but I'm hyped.
You're certainly right, JR. Now let's get to the all-important tale of the tape.
Nan Slam. Nan Slam. Extra big ass fries Nan Slam. Brought to you by Brondo, the first mutilator.
Washed. There we go. Cheers, Rudy, mate. That's not the finished one, is it, Emmy? It's,
Willie.
No, he's going to do a finished one and send it to us.
It's better. So I'm going to end it with another video, the Bruv Sport one.
Wait. No. Interact. Stop it right there. I'm not having another copyright strike on my channel. Not after last Sunday show. God, what a fucking nightmare that was. Anyway, you'll get to see all of that and more. I think it's Wednesday on Marco Coletti Spaghetti. And yeah, that's pretty much it. All I wanted to do was just a brief. You know, I wanted to do some Hobbit commentary on top of this because I thought it was pretty interesting. You know, I think it was pretty good. And also I want to factory that. Why isn't it work? Well, you're getting the bits you need, so yeah, and just do that. So yeah. Well, that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Marco Coletti Spaghetti on Saturday. That's what we've just been watching. And yeah, thanks. You can all go away now. Go away.